There we go. Always get something wrong. Hopefully you can all see and hear me. Hopefully I haven't screwed up too much. This is, yeah, I've just appeared. Well, that's a good start. This is a new format. It's not a debate. I'm very glad to have Flat Earth New Zealand just waiting at the side to come in. This is a chat, a fireside chat. I'm looking at it as a chance to get to know Craig a bit, find out who he is, where he come from. Nothing more than he wants to tell, though. As I said, it's not a debate. No winners, no losers. It's just a chat. I want to know a bit more about why Craig believes what he believes, what persuaded him, and so on. I don't know if everyone can see the warning down there, sort of bottom right-hand side. Super chats. I normally read out super chats as and when they come up, but to save interrupting the flow all the time, I'll just read any that turn up every now and then as a little bunch. But if any are just insulting and nothing more to Craig, then at my discretion I won't read them. Okay. I realise that some of the things may be challenges for Craig, and I'll leave it to Craig if he wants to answer those or not. If he does not, it is not a lose. As I said, this is a fireside chat. It's a different format. I want to see how it works. If it doesn't, not to worry, won't do it again. If it does, I'll find someone else to join in another time. So, anyway, I'll say a few hellos in just a second. I think it's about time we got Craig in just to say hello, and then we'll go through some of the people. Let me just make sure he's ready to come in. And Craig, you should be good to go. Hello, sir.
Good evening to you, and good morning to
yeah, people all around the world. Yeah, I understand it's what, mid-morning your way?
Yeah, 10 o'clock, just after.
Cool, cool. And here it's just gone 9 on a Saturday evening. I hope you had a good Saturday.
Yeah, I went out for dinner, some little Mexican place.
Ooh, I do like a bit of Mexican food. Yeah. Right, I'm going to have a quick look, Craig, before we sort of get stuck into things and see who we have here. I'm a bit fingers and thumbs. I've got so many windows open. Let's just pop this chat out, keep it separate, should make it a little easier. Robert Leger 3, the first person I've seen. Good evening to you, sir. And who else we got? Mr. Victory, Joseph Grant, Jay Sherman, Leighton Brain. Hello to all of you. 9 o'clock hero. And Michelle, Logan, 9 o'clock hero again. Okay, well, oh, Demon Orb, good evening to you too as well. And Spunchik, again, I hope, Spoon Cheek. It's my best shot at it. Okay, so Craig, if I just ask you straight out, how long have you believed the Flat Earth?
God, I haven't even thought about that. So
yeah,
it's probably 18 months to 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, can I ask again, without you revealing anything you don't want to, because I'm not trying to, but what sort of background you come from? Perhaps your family or history or something like that. You know, keeping privacy.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I've got a bit of a checkered past.
Yeah.
I'm not, what would you say? I'm a bit of a black sheep.
A bit of a black sheep? Is that something we shouldn't ask about?
No, it's all good. You know, I'm very well experienced in life in all facets. So I've got a pretty good understanding of how the world works. And
yeah. Do you mind if I ask what sort of age group you're in?
Sorry, I've lost you there.
Yeah. I said, do you mind if I ask what sort of age group you're in?
Oh, I'm 37.
Okay. So it's not a group, that's an accurate amount.
Yeah.
Okay,
37.
Family?
Yeah, I've got 2 daughters.
Nice.
They're pretty much adults now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I live in Wellington. away from any of my immediate family. So I'm pretty much on my own.
And
a lovely missus, though, of course.
Sorry, your lovely missus?
Yes.
Yeah, you have to say that, don't you, in case she watches. I'm sure she's lovely. Okay, so you said you sort of turned to Flat Earth about 18 months ago. Was it a slow thing, or something just hit you and made you change completely suddenly, or what? How did that come about?
Well, so it was, a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, he sort of brought it to my attention, and like everybody, I was very skeptical.
Yeah.
There's brand new radical information that I'm being presented with. It takes a little bit to even gain a sort of understanding of what he was even trying to tell me. And so, it's definitely a gradual thing. And the more I looked into it, I found I had more questions, and things just seemed to warrant further investigation and questions. In my mind, raised a whole lot of questions that need answering, really.
So
that warrant an answer.
What was there? One final straw that made it? Yep, that's right.
No, I think it's a combination of everything. It's not really one particular evidence or questionable thing you're questioning. It's all of them together mount up to really raise heaps of red flags for me to the current, heliocentric model.
Yeah.
And that's where it is at for me. I can't come out and definitively say the Earth is flat, but for me, there is definitely a lot of questions around it being a globe, and so much so that I believe it isn't a globe at all. Can't work from my understanding.
I was going to say, one of the things I thought of asking you is, on a sort of 0 to 10 certainty scale, how certain are you? 10 being the highest. How certain are you that it's flat? And if negative 10 was the other way, how definite are you that it's not a globe? If you know what I mean.
Well, it certainly appears flat and motionless. So, if I had to pick a side, I'm definitely in the flat Earth camp, for sure.
So only just sort of well in there, or absolutely hardcore?
No, I'm well in there. I accept that there's still things that we don't know, and there's questions that we can't answer. But from all evidences that I've seen, it definitely supports a flat, non-rotating flat plane. Yeah. As for a globe, 10 that it's not a globe.
So, what do you feel is the strongest evidence for a flat Earth? Again, for everyone out there, this isn't a debate. I'm just trying to find out about Craig, and as far as I'm aware, he's a typical flat earther. So yeah. So what would you feel would be your strongest sort of evidence for it?
The strongest evidence, like I said, that it's a combination of everything. You can't really singular it down to just the one.
Yeah.
And for me, I find the whole argument, flat, round, really intriguing in itself.
Yeah.
The philosophy behind it, the fact that you got two sides. Both sides have very intelligent people, on both camps, credentials, etc. But one fundamental difference. They're both on extreme differences with the world we live in, which points a question to me. Well, what's the difference here? Like, is it something that's not seen? Are some people open to be able to be awakened to this, and some people aren't? Like, I don't know. It's just something to think about, because I just think it's very strange. Like, you got both two camps, and I've watched heaps of debates, arguments between really like high academic people saying a whole bunch of stuff I don't even understand. But
Well,
how can they be so different?
Craig, Mr. Victory has asked in the side chat, does your wife or your partner, do they share your views, or do they still think it's globe?
So my partner's 24 years old, so she's a little bit green to life than I am. She didn't know, really. She was like of the camp, like so many people are. Never really thought about it. What does it matter?
Mm-hmm. Well, for most of us, I guess it makes no difference at all. I mean, we rely on things like GPS and airplanes and so on, but however it is they do work, we just accept they work and use them. So I guess it makes no difference, even though I guess to the designers of all those pieces of equipment, it does make a difference. So, I mean, some people are asking questions, Craig, and I am interested in these questions and these answers, but I am very aware that I've not got you on here for a grilling. Okay. I mean, I would like sometime, perhaps we can actually have a full-on organised debate covering some agreed areas, which you're happy to cover, and I could quite happily argue the toss, totally disagree with you, and sit down and have a beer afterwards. I don't take anything personally. And from what I've seen, you seem to be the same, which is good.
Well, I'd like to, at the end of this, I've got a couple of things for you to maybe go away and investigate and come back to me with. We can have a part 2 catch up.
Yes, yeah, by all means.
Some very valid points. So,
and
same for you, for me. Like
a repeat run of this, you mean? But covering some areas perhaps that you particularly want to cover.
Yeah, well, like, can you not? I don't know. I'm a very level-headed, rational person. Like, so, I do accept evidence for what they are.
Yeah.
Like, recently I come across Tiger Dan, for example, in him trying to map
Tiger Dan,
the flat Earth. Yes.
Not heard of them.
Okay, it's a few years ago now. Like, I just saw it brought up in a video, so I looked into him, and he was a avid flat earther.
Yeah.
He's an Englishman like yourself. He done videos of flat Earth, and then he decided to try and map the flat Earth, an accurate one.
Okay.
As you're aware,
well, I mean,
we've only got the as a whatever it is, everything's correct from the North Pole outwards, but like,
well, on that A projection map, it works going directly out, but not around. Yeah, I mean, if someone is of the opinion that the Earth is flat, then they should be able to map it. I'm not talking about an individual, perhaps like you or I, but it's physical. The oceans are a certain shape and size. The continents are a certain shape and size. So, it is measurable and convertible onto paper drawings on paper. But up until now,
you would think.
You would think so.
So Tiger Dan had a meltdown over it.
Yeah, someone's just saying in chat that he left YouTube. He quit.
Yeah, so he came to the conclusion that it was impossible because he couldn't stretch, like, say you'd have Australia the right distance away from South America, but then it's too far away from Africa, and it just didn't fit on the map. And like, and just on that alone, he decided to discard all other evidences. Whereas I think that was quite ignorant. But
sorry, what was quite ignorant?
The fact that he just threw the whole flat Earth completely away, discarding all evidences completely.
Do you
just
think
on the one thing, because he couldn't make the map work? Like,
but then do you think that was enough to convince him, even though he had accepted the other evidence, that this evidence, to him at least, just so did not fit with how he felt the flat Earth was, that he had no choice but to throw it. I mean, I don't know the guy at all, but because, for instance, okay, coming from a globe side, let's say I travelled to Antarctica and I saw the edge, or I could wrap my knuckles on a glass dome, I'd have to be thinking, shoot, I'm wrong. I give up. All this stuff I've been saying on YouTube is wrong. So if it was something like that the other way around for him, wouldn't that be understandable?
oh, like, hey, everyone's entitled to their own views and opinions and beliefs. I don't hold that against them. I just for me, I view that as quite ignorant from my point of view, because there's plenty of other evidences which are very strong.
Craig,
because we can't map the flat Earth accurately, just until we actually know for sure, like distances and stuff like that.
Craig, I'm just going to explain, because more people are joining in. This is a friendly fireside chat, as I want to call it, with Craig, who is FlatEarthNZ, Flat Earth New Zealand. Not a debate, just to let people know. And someone's asked, I think it was Spoonchick asked about coming in. At least for now, this is a one-on-one chat. It's a different format than my normal shows, okay? So I'm afraid, as of right now, no one else can join in. Yeah, so Craig, you said about you felt it's ignorant, but whatever the evidences are, shouldn't they all tally up? If one contradicts other ones, or do you not think it was a contradiction? If he was finding it impossible to map what should be a flat surface on flat paper, do you not think perhaps, well, that's enough for him to say, well, this can't be right for him? I'm not trying to push you into that.
Oh, that's what I mean. I say for him, like, we're all entitled to our own views and beliefs, and for sure, like, that was what it was for him, and that's okay.
Sorry, someone's just asked something. Something in the chat. Saucy London.
I can see.
You can see it, can you? Yeah. Saucy London. That's not really the sort of thing I'm going to be asking Craig. I hadn't even thought about religion. Craig, I'm not going to ask you about your religion, but is Flat Earth for you tied to your religion in any way, if you have a religion?
Okay, so for me, my understanding of religion is religion's man-made. Like, so there's a difference between being religious and spiritual.
Yeah.
So I'm not aligned to anything religious. I'm quite well aware of they throw out Bible proofs for the flat Earth.
Yeah, some do. So I wondered if you were sort of coming from that direction as well. That was all.
Well, I try to stay away from that sort of side of it for as long as I possibly can. When you do come to where I'm at, anyway, you have to, accepting a creator is its default. It just comes with it, and because I find a lot of people get turned away. Just as my observations, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people get turned away because they're getting the God and the Bible thrown at them. You've just asked them to consider a flat Earth, but before they've even thought of that, you're now asking them to, like, believe in God and all this stuff that
Yeah, I
It
think
just might be a tall order, you know, and a lot of people are like, fuck that, I'm out.
well, yeah. Well, just to make my position clear, I'm totally atheist. I don't think there's anything spiritual, supernatural, God, or any of that. But I got a feeling that a lot of people who come from the sort of more fundamentalist end of Christianity, anyway, are often I'm not saying that often. I'm not saying that most of them believe in flat Earth, but most flat Earthers come from that sort of area, in my opinion. Obviously, not everyone. So I'm not tarring everyone with the same brush or accusing anyone of anything. Right. Sorry.
So
yeah, go on.
Sorry. So let me get this right.
Yeah.
So, and you're a strong atheist.
Yep.
So you.
Yep.
That's that's interesting. I always find that for myself. I don't know, unable to have any sort of connection with something greater. Like you think intelligent life just happened out of mere chance. So nothing created everything.
Yeah, it's not quite like. I mean, we can go down that road if you like.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This universe has been around, what, 13.4, 13.7 billion years, whatever the more accurate estimate is nowadays. What's your what's your earliest memory, age-wise, Craig? 4, 5 years old, something like that?
Yeah, I think like they're not vivid memories, but you got
bits.
Glimpses,
yeah. What about the 13.5 billion years before that? There was, for you and for me, there was nothing. It was not pain. It was not worry. It was not fear. You just weren't. And when we die, it will be the same, in my opinion. I remember watching something on TV and someone was saying that they despised sleep because it was little slices of death, which I thought was really clever. I mean, okay, sometimes you dream, but other times, you at least, even if you dreamt in the night, you wake up not remembering your dreams. Nothing happened between when you fell asleep and when you awoke, unless you were disturbed and rolled over in the night. Basically, that period is gone. But it wasn't distressing or anything. It wasn't horrible, and I think that's what it will be like when we die. Everything came from the Big Bang, not from nothing. It was a singularity, and before that, we don't know. It doesn't mean that there wasn't before that. It just means we don't know. No one has said we came from nothing. Actually, I can accept people having, what's the word? Not perhaps understanding evolution, but it really, really boils my blood when you see people like Ken Ham and Eric Hovind and the father son, I forget which way around it is, Eric and whoever it was, twisting evolution and willfully getting it wrong and then straw manning it. Do you know what I mean?
I do, but that works for both sides as well. Like I see it clear from both sides of any argument.
Well, certainly, if flat Earth has a particular view, it doesn't do for us the globe side, to straw man it, to argue against it and provide evidence against it and ask for evidence for it is fine, but not to straw man it. Straw manning is underhand trick, isn't it? Someone's actually asked Craig. I've kept the picture on screen. Jay Sherman has asked, do you only question the shape of the Earth, or I guess is that the only thing that you differ about, or do you also believe with other conspiracies, perhaps the moon landings were fake and things like that?
So with the shape of the Earth, is really the mother, the umbrella of everything. Of course, NASA being a key part in bringing the globe to us, and a lot of questions about the information that they have given to us. The moon landings for me are definitely a hoax. Like,
Really? Okay.
yeah, absolutely.
Again, I'm conscious and not wanting to get into sort of debate, but to find out what makes you think that was a hoax.
I just think that the measure of proof now has to go back to NASA, because there's just too many, like I say, little red flags with everything. 1962 was the last time they went to the moon, and I know
72.
72
Yeah.
was the last time they went to the moon, and we haven't been back since.
No.
Now, I and talk about technological advances since 1972.
Yeah.
We've come a long way, but now even by astronauts' own admission, humans can't get past low Earth orbit.
What I will say, we talked about straw manning, or certainly sort of a misrepresentation. It is true. I've forgotten the guy's name. Someone who worked at NASA. Oh, excuse me. Someone who worked at NASA said we don't have the technology to do it. But there's a difference.
I know your argument with this.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I wouldn't even say it's an argument. It's a fact. We didn't didn't need. So if we want to do it again, we'd have to rebuild, a lander, a vehicle to actually make the journey, and so on. But we still wouldn't rebuild the exact ones that there were, because we'd want them designed for different. The mission would be different. It would be all the computers involved, whereas it was pitiful computer-wise at that time, and so on. So it just costs a lot of money coming from scratch, rather than can't.
That's fine. I'll just point out, for me, like, there's just a lot of red flags. It's not one particular thing, which to me puts the onus back onto NASA to really provide more proof in that, and they can't. And it's just surmountable evidence, bringing doubt into them as an agency, really. And you can't blame anyone for doubting them. I mean, they've openly lied with the blue marble. They have misrepresented
the fact
images, I should say.
There are images that are original film images rather than composites and so on. Have you got I don't know, a fairly up to date iPhone or Android phone?
Oh, I've got an Android, yeah.
Okay. I don't know if yours does. Mine currently does. My previous one didn't. Does it have that panorama feature where you can swing the camera around and, in effect, it's taking a super wide photo?
Yeah, I know what you say.
That's a composite. CGI. Well, it stitches together the various bits, aligns them, and so on, which is basically what they've done with a lot of the photographs from space. Because at sort of a couple hundred miles up, they're so close that they couldn't take a picture of the whole ball anyway.
That's what they tell us.
Sorry, Craig. Oh, this is great. I'm enjoying this. What about us being at a certain height? You mean only 200 miles up? 210, I think it is, something like that.
What do you mean? Sorry.
Sorry. The ISS, the International Space Station, is only a couple hundred miles up. Something like the Himawari satellite is 20-odd thousand miles up, I think, something like that. So it's far enough away that it can take a single shot image that encapsulates the entire Earth. Although, of course, it's geostationary, so it always stays over the same point. So it's always the same half of the Earth.
Yeah, I've actually looked into that Himawari
Yeah.
for myself personally, because hey, I want to look at things that people are saying. No, there's actual photos of the Earth every 10 minutes from
That's
the,
right.
Japanese satellite. So I look into these things, and for myself, what I've found with the Himawari is that can't be validated to be authentic.
You know this.
It's
Sorry, I was going to say,
yeah,
you know, a guy on YouTube who takes Himawari photos and photos from, I don't know, his yard or whatever, and matches them up. And
no. This guy actually worked out how they were doing it, or his, and to a pretty onto it standard, and it's just updated software of it, and his how he did it. I mean, you can't say that that's not true. Like, you can't disprove it. Like, whether or not you can prove it, you can't disprove it either. And that's the thing. Like,
well, I guess if it comes to that, you or I, or I guess most people, firstly, aren't image specialists who can forensically study an image. And if it is an image that is stitched together for valid reasons, you or I wouldn't be able to, probably couldn't tell, but we certainly wouldn't be able to prove it or not. But there would have to be an awful lot of people in on any, I'll use the word conspiracy, but any lie. There would have to be so many people in on it.
And that's a single factor that has a lot of people not buying into the flat Earth. That one single I've found, is just the amount of people that would have to be involved and lying, and why. And like, it's a very good question.
But have you, you must have heard about your partner's friend who's got a brother who's having an affair. Those sort of things always come out, and that's only half a dozen people. So when you're talking about all the tens of thousands who work for NASA and the NASA suppliers, and then there's all the people who from other universities and that around the world who would be able to say, hold on a minute, you're lying.
And they're the ones that I feel most sorry for, because they're compartmentalized. They have to be. Like, if you look at the people that have actually been to space, a so-called space, it's not very many at all.
No, it's not many. It's difficult to get there, and it's very hard to get there. But it's only 80 miles away. That's the amazing thing. You and I are about 80 miles from space, or 100 to the Kármán line, whatever. It's incredibly close, really. It's so hard and expensive to get there. But
apparently not.
How do you mean?
Well, expensive to get there for home. Like, that's NASA seem to be going there all the time. Like,
Well, but
International Space Station dockings and.
Well, I mean, once they're committed, in order to keep the astronauts on there alive, they have to have replenishment missions for food and fuel and so on. But I don't know what the cost is nowadays for a launch. It's a lot cheaper than it used to be. It's still millions.
Well, NASA getting what, $56 million a day or something. So
yeah, but
they're not short of money.
No, but there's an awful lot of people. Most of it goes. Someone did a breakdown of this. I forgot who it was. Obviously, whatever percentage goes in wages, and then there's cost of running and upkeep and power, light and heating and whatever for all the buildings, plus the development and so on. It eats into that money mighty quick. It sounds a lot, but I don't know what the US military budget is. Is it 10 times that? I don't know. It's a lot.
I have no idea. But I do know that the whole space industry, is worth more than the movies, music, and gaming industries combined, which is, huge, really.
Well, it is, but actually, when you think about it, long term, I mean long term, the human race has absolutely no choice if we want to survive but to learn how to survive in space, because long term, 4.5 billion years or whatever it is, probably sooner than that, assuming we haven't killed ourselves with nuclear war or global warming or whatever, the sun is going to it's going to swell as it reaches late middle age or whatever it is, swell up till I think the Earth could even be within the surface of the sun. It's that sort of size, massive. So the Earth will be no more.
That's a big claim there. Like that's a big claim.
Well, no. I mean, no. There are basically we become a now there's all sorts of classifications, white dwarfs, red giants, and so on. But it's the nuclear process is a balance, isn't it? There is the amount of energy that's keeping it from collapsing, and when it's used up all the hydrogen, it has to start working on helium and work its way through the various elements until it's not got fuel to burn and support itself, and it will start to swell. We can see stars like that, like red giants and so on. I'm not talking about supernova. Our sun won't go supernova. It's not massive enough for that. But what I'm saying is, long term, the sun will die, however long that takes, and in whatever form. So if we're still here and nowhere else, that's the end of human race. And of course, even if you leave that aside, next month there could be a planetary killer. A massive meteor strike the Earth, tsunamis, and all that sort of stuff. Massive global change, nuclear winter in effect, human race dies out. We need to be more places than just here. Would you accept that?
We need to be more places than
here.
Yeah,
whether it's the moon, Mars, interstellar.
From my point of view, there is no other place but here, you know what I mean?
Oh, no, that's interesting. So, why is that?
Well, because your belief of the sun and all that, I don't there's not enough provable scientific evidence to prove that for me.
Sorry, to prove what?
Like you're saying, the sun. You're saying the sun, stars, and all the rest of it, all suns.
All right. Well, let me go back a bit.
My conclusion is just a little bit different than that.
Well, just to let you know, we were talking about NASA budgets, and I said about the US military. Saucy London has posted that the US military budget is $693 billion US, I presume, a year. Well, forget the sun swelling or whatever. At some point, it's going to die. Even if it just runs out of fuel and slowly cools off, it's going to die. Nothing can go on forever. But that would be billions of years. There's going to come a time, long term, when the Earth's no longer habitable. Would you agree with that?
I'm not in a position to.
Oh, okay.
Say that.
Okay.
I don't. I would say very well could still be here. There's nothing for me that tells me that the sun's going to die.
Okay, all right. Well, obviously I would disagree with that big time. But let's leave that aside then. Let's just go back to, we know the Earth gets hit by meteors and possibly comets. And we know there have been massive impacts in the past, like the Tunguska event, the massive one that hit Russia sometime when they found all the trees blown over hundreds of square miles, meteor crater in Arizona, and so on. And we've seen all the meteor craters on the moon. So potentially, even if it's not what killed the dinosaurs, but potentially we could get hit by something that basically clobbers this planet, destroys everything on it. Would you accept that as a possibility?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Well,
that's just like saying that. Would I be open to thinking that we may become attacked by an alien invasion as well?
Well, do you not think it's different? I mean, okay, let's go back a
I
little
can
bit.
understand. I totally accept that. Like, that's a real possibility for people with the belief of of
But
heliocentrism, whatever it is, heliocentricity.
yeah,
Um,
but we have found meteorites,
we've
or
found
would you?
craters.
No. I mean actual meteorites. You could,
Yeah, but if
that you
there's a
could.
firmament, um, no one's denying that parts of that hasn't fallen off. I have no idea.
But
But
I mean, I've
as
put.
for an
I've,
asteroid,
yeah.
like I read something yesterday that apparently there's one that might collide with the Earth in 5 days before Christmas or something. There's
Well,
just
yeah.
so much.
There's been near misses. I mean, actually, think back on that. They've reported in the papers. Oh, there's one coming within the orbit of the moon, or within 20,000 miles, or whatever it is. With the right equipment, telescope, and looking in the right place, you can see these things. You can take photos of them as they're passing. And I must admit, that's a bit of a shock that you sort of. I don't want to misrepresent you, Craig. That you don't basically accept that meteors ever fall to Earth. Is that correct?
Well, like what I'm trying to say is, like, for me, with what comes with where I'm at is the deception, like the whole. It's a whole lot, and it goes very deep. The rabbit hole does go deep, and like to control people, you control them by fear. I know, and it's a radical claim, and like I said, I'm very rational, level-headed. I understand how, like, for some people that can sound pretty out there,
Yeah.
where I'm
Yeah.
coming from,
Yeah.
but like I'm serious, and like I can't, as much as I can't discount it. I can't
Hello.
say
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not, and like I know I'm got not
Have
much
you
time as
have
well.
have you
I just
have you?
wanted to.
Sorry,
There you go.
I was going to say, have you ever seen a meteor, a shooting star?
I've seen lights. There's lights in the sky every night.
Well, okay. You see stars which are steady,
I,
but they rotate. I was going to say they rotate as the Earth rotates. Through the night, they move across the sky. Okay, stars do, and planets you can see through one night. You can see it rotate pretty much with the stars, but over a period of a few weeks, they have moved. That they're in a different position amongst the stars. When I say amongst, I mean with the background. Yeah. Would you
they're
agree with that?
wandering stars. They're
Yes,
wandering
yes,
stars.
that's what they were called. Yes, because over a few weeks they had wandered across the fixed sky, the fixed stars.
Yes.
But meteors flash in a second. Literally zip, and is a bright flash. Sometimes they pulse. I don't mean on, but pulse, flicker, or whatever, as they're breaking up. I mean, have you ever seen a meteor shower?
Oh, I've seen shooting star, like,
Yeah, there's the
shoot across the
ones.
sky. Like, I'm not saying that I haven't seen that.
No.
As to knowing actually what that is, I know what we're told it is, and that, but like to actually know is
What
another
what
thing.
what do you? Sorry, Craig. I'm just going to say, if we're getting too close to debate and don't want to go that way, that's fine. Okay, because it's just so natural. I want to go into that, and
Okay.
to tell everyone here who's listening, this is, and I promise Craig, and that's exactly what I want to do. Is just have a chat. It's just wandering the way the chat's wandering. There is no win, no lose. Not tonight, anyway, is there, Craig? Another night, maybe.
Oh, it's to me, it's not about winning or losing. It's just about getting to the truth, and like that's all anyone wants.
Well,
Um,
yes.
so just I just wanted to give you some homework. Or
okay. Do
a
I need
couple of things.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Let me open a notepad so I don't miss these things. What is it? Links or what do you want to give me?
I can send you the actual link.
Okay. Well, if afterwards you drop
for what I'm about to ask now, it's the moon. So I just want to talk about the moon.
Okay. Well, okay. We'll talk about the moon, but I'll tell you what. Afterwards, if you drop me any links, direct message me, and then I'll have a look at them at a later point. But yeah, let's talk about the moon. Go ahead.
Okay. So like, there's because we are spread out all around the place. I've got some photos here of the moon that's taken at exactly the same time.
Actually,
obviously, there's different time zones, but
sorry, Craig. So
yes.
I do apologise, and I do want to talk about this, but I just thought I said about reading super chats periodically. There is only one, and I thought if I read this one, then we can get into the moon. There is one super chat from Mr. Joseph Petrick, who has super chatted €2. I think this is to you, Craig. Russians, Chinese, India, Israel, European Space Agency, are they all liars? That's Joseph Petrick. Thanks for the point, Joseph. I'll leave that with Craig. Yeah, go on.
I love it. I love the what people come at you. Are they all liars? Well, they haven't all been to space. Again, you got to research who has actually been into space.
Well, I think you'll find that the Russians, Chinese, India, Israel recently did a moonshot, which unfortunately failed. European Space Agency. Yes, we've got the Ariane, haven't we? That launches. That's the Ariane rockets. But okay, yeah. I mean, that was the super chat. But sorry, we were just going to talk about the moon. You said you've got pictures taken from.
Okay. So there's pictures taken of the moon at the same time. Obviously, it's different time zones, but at the same moment.
Yes. Do you mean, for instance, everyone takes it at 12 o'clock or 12 o'clock my time, 2 o'clock his time, 4 o'clock his time, which is all taking a shutter picture?
It'd be like when we started this chat. It was 10 o'clock for me, and it was 9 o'clock for you.
So we took it at physically the same time of day. Okay, all right. So they took the pictures.
Okay. Okay, so there's in Tennessee, USA, and also Sydney, Australia. Now, obviously, the face of the moon's up the other way.
Yep.
But they should not be able to see the moon at the same time, like on a globular Earth.
Why would that be?
Because they're on different sides of the Earth.
So
it's physically impossible. And I've looked into this because I needed to come up with something that I need you to go away and
okay. But sorry, it was Tennessee and where?
There's Tennessee and Sydney.
Okay.
And Florida and Queensland. There's two, and I'll send you the.
Please do, and I'll gladly have a look. What I would say, I can't picture exactly where those places are, but what you've got to remember is
Australia and the United States.
Yeah. Oh yes. No. Sorry, I do know that, but whereabouts? Because even that could be critical as to whether it's something that could or could not be seen. But what I'd say is, remember, if you're stood, let's take Earth as a ball. You're stood on the top. You don't just look outwards. You can look to your left and your right. On a absolutely perfect, featureless geometric sphere, you'd actually see an arc greater than 180 degrees because you'd have the curve away from you at each side, forward and back and so on. But you've got trees, houses, buildings, mountains, so perhaps you won't, but you're still going to see the best part of 180 degrees. So is the other person, a large portion of the way around the world. That moon has only got to be in the area that overlaps to be visible to both. But I'm being open to this, Craig. You said Tennessee and wherever in Australia. Send me the links and I'll have a look at it, and I'll see if it makes sense to me or not, and then we can have a chat about that sometime. But I think a lot of people have difficulty visualizing in 3D because, yeah, if you have a ball, it's not that the moon's just tucked around the other side. It's so far away that the angle doesn't have to be much different to make the moon visible or not. Do you see what I'm saying? Because of the distance.
Yeah, well, but we would have to agree that we disagree on distances to the luminary.
To the moon. Wow, I tell you what, this is really interesting. We're sort of sounding each other out. You know, you can bounce radio waves off the moon to calculate how far it is.
Well, I don't know that. I've heard this.
Yeah,
you can also use plain trigonometry as well,
and you can bounce lasers off the reflectors left by the Apollo astronauts.
Well, so for me, I don't believe they've gone there, so I can't.
I'd have to say,
that's not verifiable proof to me.
Well, apart from the fact that the mirrors are there. Oh, what about the what is it? One of these, I'm sure it's one of the moon probes that's actually taken photos, and you can see the landing sites from the Apollo missions, including the tracks of the vehicles, some of the larger bits of equipment. You can see those photos on the internet. Have you ever seen those?
There's lots of stuff on the internet, Mr. S. You know.
Well, these would be photos from whatever the mission was, and it matches up. The topography matches up. The distances, directions that these guys went, either on foot or on rovers, and you can see the pathways of them. Actually, just out of interest, no, I was going to say just out of interest, do you have a screen? Because I'll try and pull up a photo. That's for a debate. But I'll happily send you a link if we get into talking about that. And if we have a debate about it, I might present that as some evidence. But that would be another day, wouldn't it?
It would definitely be another day.
Colon's he's one of my moderators, so just asked if I can ask you if you've got a picture of the moon from where you are, and I can show him one from where I am, and they'll have different orientations. Actually, Colon, Craig is aware of that. You fully admitted that for whatever reason the moon will be up the other way for people in different areas of the world. Isn't that correct?
Oh, that's for sure. It's just
okay. So there's no disagreement there.
If you're at one end of a room and I'm at the other end and we're both looking at something in the middle of the ceiling, I'm going to be seeing it a different way to you, aren't I?
Yeah, this could get interesting. Yeah, but yeah. So for whatever the reason, Colon, there's no disagreement that the moon would appear the other way up. So do you believe then, Craig, that the moon is a sphere, or do you think it's flat, or do you think it's something else?
Or
you don't know.
I do not know.
Okay.
But it appears to be not physical. So
what do you mean by that?
Well, it's not like of physical nature, really, like a solid sort of
rock or whatever.
Yeah, like so.
So what? Okay, I'd appreciate that. I guess you wouldn't have the means to definitively prove something else, but what's your feeling of what it could be?
That's like so I haven't really studied into them, like, you know, this is an ongoing thing for me, and but for the moon, from what I've understand, that what the flat Earth community seem to have a general consensus about is that it's a plasma luminary.
Yeah, I have heard that. I've forgotten who it was. I did a video.
And I think Tesla even said that as well.
But if it was so I'll come back to the plasma. But so do you think that the moon actually glows on its own, or do you think it's reflected sunlight on something, whether that's physical or I don't know how it would reflect on something that wasn't physical, but do you think it's self illuminating?
it's I don't know if it's self-illuminated, but it's not reflecting the sun. That's I firmly believe that, because a rock. Look at the photos from your photos from the Apollo missions in space.
Yeah.
Does it look like that moon's bloody shining and glowing? Like, it's just quite hard to
Well,
yeah, it's
a
just not
lot of the photos you see, it's going to be down to camera settings as well, where everything that's in the light is overexposed because it's so bright. But the moon is actually quite grey, and I think perhaps someone in chat can correct me. I think it reflects about 3% of the sunlight. I think it is about 3% of the sunlight. But I'd be interested to know then, if we have a debate. One of the things I would sort of talk about then, Craig, if you were saying that, why do we have the moon's phases, which always 100% of the time, by coincidence or whatever, the lit portion is the portion pointing towards the sun? That's something I would throw back towards you, if you were saying that. And Mr. Victory said, 2 to 3% of the moon's light is reflected. 2 to 3% of the sunlight is reflected by the moon.
Yeah.
So I wasn't far off. I'm about to get adverts coming up on the screen, which I'm just getting rid of. So while I'm just doing that, I have 2 more super chats.
Sure.
One is for, and I haven't read them yet, but just to reiterate to everyone, I haven't seen anything yet, but the super chat warning on the screen, I read them out every now and then rather than as soon as. But if there were any that are just nothing more than insulting to Craig, then I reserve the right not to read them, because Craig's here as a guest just for a chat. It's nothing more than that. Although, of course, Craig, you may still be uncomfortable, even if it's a polite question or point. I'll read it out. You don't have to answer. Anyway, Poison Toad has super chatted 20 New Zealand dollars just because he's a Kiwi. There's some sort of smiley face or something. Unfortunately, the font this is in, I can't make out what it is, Poison. So are you actually in New Zealand now then, Craig?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. So just because he's a Kiwi, I'm not sure quite what he's saying, but that's the super chat. And 3 AM Paranormale e Horror has super chatted €2, saying hello from your Italian friend. Hello to you too. 3 AM Paranormale e Horror. And I'll be interested to know if I say that anywhere near correct. I don't know Italian at all. Sorry, where were we again, Craig? What was it we were just covering?
We were talking about the moon.
Yeah.
And like, unfortunately, like, I would love to carry on doing this, but
Do you need to go?
Was it a turn up? Yeah, I had an 11 o'clock.
Yep, that's fine. And let me make absolutely clear to everybody out there, Craig did say way before, he said he thought he would only be able to make an hour. So he's not bailing, it's coming to an end, which is absolutely fine. Listen, Craig, I've really enjoyed this. I hope you have too. Hello?
Yeah, no.
Oh, right, sorry. I thought perhaps you really had bailed then.
No.
Yeah, no. It's been good. Yeah, please do drop me some links and bits and pieces. I'll have a look at them, and we can take that from there. And perhaps sometime we could choose a subject or two, whatever it is, whether it is evolution or the moon or whatever, and have an actual debate where we take turns, present evidence, try to debunk each other. Have a think about it. We can have that as an option at some point. But
absolutely.
Yeah.
I just want the truth, and I feel that, like, with the two sides, there's a lot of just like, you're stupid, no, you're stupid, and it doesn't get anywhere, and it's from both sides, and like, I just want to know, find the truth. Like, you lump me in with all the other flat earth society, whatever, but I'm on my own, with me, and I'm in search of the truth and understanding. Just yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
if you're genuinely
sorry.
searching, can't criticise you for that, Craig. Look, I am aware you need to go. It's been brilliant. I've really enjoyed having you here. You seem like a nice guy, and I hope that everyone out there has enjoyed this too. Okay, Craig.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay, you take care
I'll be
then.
back.
Okay, you take care. I'll catch up with you on the Discord, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to flick over to the arena where some people can come in and chat with me. So I'll say good night to you, Craig. Thank you very much, sir.
Cheers.
Cheers, all the best. Okay, I'm switching over to the arena, and if Craig's still listening, I wouldn't be surprised if one or two people perhaps are challenging what he was saying, and that's fine. So, what did you all think? What do you think of the new format? It's a little different. I've not seen anyone do anything just like this. Actually, I do need to actually get the chat because otherwise I don't know what you're saying. Where's that gone? I've lost my chat window. There we go. Yes, so let me know. What do you think of this as a format? Not a debate, just a friendly chat, and try and get to know a bit about the other side. I didn't know half those things were Craig's views until tonight, like the business of the moon. So I found that quite interesting. I've chatted with him on voice, but on voice, but obviously not on here before. And he was a last-minute guest at a live stream about three weeks ago or so. Really nice guy. He does appear to be open to looking at evidence, and to be honest, I can't criticise him for that. Obviously, I think he's wrong, and seeing some of the comments in there, nearly all of you think he's wrong, if not all of you. But props to him for coming on here, for trusting that I would run this for him in a way that he could feel free to chat, which is what I wanted for this format. So what have we got? Dora and Koo. Mr. Sensible with a good guest like Craig is nice. Do it again in the future with hopefully good guests. Thank you, Dora. Yeah, I'd like to. I'd like to do a debate that's when it gets meaty and perhaps you start getting hot under the collar. But this is going to be I'm going to have a playlist of these. Keep it separate. But even then, it's quite interesting that we're chatting nice and friendly, but I could find myself wanting to ask, and show him this and show him that. And I'm sure he felt the same. Martin H. It makes a change to hear a normal person putting forward his views without being screamed at and called a fucking idiot. Absolutely. That's what I wanted. And Edward Hook, a friendly chat is a good idea. Thank you. Yeah, we've got Casual Spaceman in the house. I did see you come in, sir. Good evening to you.
Good evening.
Oh, and whoa, he's actually come in and joined us. Hello, Casual. Sorry, I just talked to you in chat.
I thought you meant I was here in the Discord. I assumed that's what you meant. So I just said that's why I said good evening. Sorry,
Yeah.
Ski.
Hey, no, that's perfect timing. I would ask if you've got speakers on, if you could put a headset on or whatever, because I was getting some feedback.
No, I've got a headset on, so I'm not sure why that is.
I also see 9 O'Clock Hero is in there, but his mic is muted, so I don't think it's coming from him. Let's see how it goes. So, Casual, what did you think of that?
Yeah, seems a nice guy.
Yeah.
I will say he's and I'm sure he probably wouldn't mind me saying this. I think he's quite far down the rabbit hole a bit. With not just the shape of the Earth, but pretty much what everything is and what's around him and all the rest of it as well. But other than that, no, he seems quite amiable and quite open.
I think he's genuinely a nice guy, and I think if you're saying, look, I think you're believing a lot with it's unsupported. There's so much evidence to the contrary. That's totally different than saying, "Oi, you're a bloody idiot." That's a different thing.
Yeah, true.
I just definitely got the feedback from you that time. I just heard myself say that's a different thing.
That's strange. I don't know why that is. I'm wearing headphones, so
weird. Never mind. So I was a bit surprised about the moon being plasma. I mean, I've heard it before, but him saying that makes it seem real, that someone really believes it's not just some YouTuber knocking it out for some ad revenue or whatever.
Oh, by the way, you got 9 o'clock hero in the Discord as well.
Yes, I saw him there, and I mentioned just a minute ago, but he's got his mic muted. 9, if you want to come in, please just unmute and just jump in and say hello.
He's already there. No, he's in the Discord.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Discord, but he's muted.
He's talking.
What do you mean? Oh, talking in chat?
No. I can hear him talking. He's saying hello.
Oh, I can't hear him at all.
Have you got him? He says he thinks you might be muted from the last time, perhaps. Have you got him muted?
Oh. Hello, 9 o'clock.
Hello.
Hi. I don't know how that happened. How did it read? Have we spoken before? I mean, I've seen you in comments and chat and whatever, but have we spoken before?
Yeah, I don't know. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
I keep cutting out here.
Who, you or me?
Me. I can't even hear. I can't hear myself.
Well, perhaps you could close down Discord, load it back up, and try come back in again.
No problem. I'll give it a go.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Casual. I was just saying that actually having someone put forward Plasma Moon as a thought, just for me, it's so hard to believe.
Yeah, that's very true. Actually, there is one thing I wanted to say about somebody said between 2 and 3% of
yes.
the sunlight is reflected by the moon. I want to counter that a little bit, so I'm actually debunking you and whoever suggested it.
Well, before you do, Cash, before you do, I thought 3 because that's what I had read. And they obviously said 2 to 3, sort of confirming it. But hey, if I'm wrong, I'm totally open to that because I have no.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So what is it then?
I've read and I found from what I've heard is between 3 and 12%, depending on the where the orbit the moon is exactly at any given time.
And of course the phase.
Yeah, the phases. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so, you're right. I have read that too. And Casual, I'm definitely getting that feedback from you, mate. Definitely. Hello, 9 o'clock.
I'll come out and try get. I've got a little link that I'd like you to share, if that's okay about that.
Yes.
Where do you want me to post the link?
If you pop it in the lounge on my server, I will then paste it into the super chat. And actually, I have a shout out. I have a shout out to Mr. Victory's little one. Hello, and no. Let's have a no from everyone. No. Hello.
Well.
I'm just gonna come out and come back in again and see if that helps with the echo, perhaps.
Yeah, I don't know if some of these problems are caused by the fact that I was in a different voice chat and moved across to this one. Who knows? Anyway, hello, 9 o'clock hero.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. You're nice and clear now, am I?
We are, yes.
Good.
I can't hear myself. Phones, that's all.
so I don't know how much of the chat with Craig you caught.
Yeah, I caught most of it. Was he on a few weeks ago? Was that the same?
It is the same guy.
I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah. The story is, I bumped into him on a chat or a comment. I can't remember which, and I invited him onto that chat that previous time. I explained it wasn't a debate; it was just people talking about whatever. And I thought it was quite brave of him to come on. He was a nice guy. We had a nice chat, challenged, whatever. But I was planning on doing these fireside chats as a series, and I thought he could be a good one to start off with. And he was up for it, which I felt also is something to show others who I might ask on here. They can look at this one and see that I am treating people fairly.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I mean, it seemed a pleasant enough chap. He didn't all too convinced himself as a flat earther either, so I don't know.
Sorry, you're not convinced he was a flat earther?
He didn't seem to be convinced himself that he believed in the flat earth, if you know what I mean. Sort of like, maybe it's flat, sort of.
Well, yeah.
You know.
Although, could, I suppose, also say he was open, sort of saying, "Look, this is what I think, but I still need to look at the evidence."
Yeah, I think that's more like it.
Yeah. I think he's. I think he's. I get the feeling he's honest. You know, he could be totally wrong, but he's honest.
Yeah, I think we could persuade him the other side, if you know.
Yes, that'd be good. And do you know what? I think he would be open to that if we could persuade him. Tonight wasn't the night for that. It was the chat.
I don't think. I mean, just in my opinion, I don't think you could really convince somebody to really switch over from maybe just one conversation.
No,
I think really it's things that actually take time, because if you speak to people like Jose and one or two others, Jose Gonzalez and a few others that are used to be flat earthers, that it wasn't just one particular thing, or usually it was just over a gradual time, and they began to realise that things just weren't working out. So, you know, but again, it's quite often it's planting the seeds, isn't it? So,
yes.
You know. But could I just say, actually, it's good to actually sort of hear 9 o'clock Hero's voice, actually, because he sometimes comes in my streams and things like that. So it's good to hear your voice, and I put a voice to the name.
Oh, thank you, sir. Yes. I was watching your channel the other day when you were having all the audio problems.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
that was to the best of us. By the looks of things.
Oh, well, hopefully I've got that. Hopefully I've got those sorted out now. So I've had some.
I heard you had a bit of help from Tatty, so.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I'll have to have a word with him when I get set up.
I've got a super chat came in a few minutes ago from one of my patrons, Mr. Mitch Goldstein, name pronounced correctly, who has super chatted $2. Hey, Mr. Sensible from the other side of the globe. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Wasn't that what? Who was it? Yes.
Frost.
Sorry. No. In the movie with a guy who lived in the dome on a TV series,
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the name either.
What's his name?
The one that some flat earthers have used. The Truman Show. That's it.
Truman Show.
And as he comes out, good morning, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Anyway, a bit sidetracked. So yes, good evening, or whatever it is to you, Mitch. Too. Thank you.
Is my echo any better, by the way? Is that better? Or
yeah, but it's not you.
No echo here.
Yeah, it's not you who was echoing, Casual. It's just that when you came on, I could hear the tail end of what I was saying. Oh,
okay.
But that seems to have stopped anyway.
Oh, good. Well, it might well have been me then.
So was it? I think I saw an announcement for one of your upcomings, Casual. Unless I've missed it. Another launch up real soon, or have I just missed it?
No, it's actually coming up on Monday. SpaceX are starting to doing launches once again, and they're doing the official launch of what they're calling it Starlink 1. The last lot they sent the Starlink satellites up. It was just like a test, but this is the first of the batch, and there's going to be quite a few over the next year.
Is this the thing where they launch and it separates into 2 or 3 satellites? Sorry, I really don't know that much about it.
No, well, actually, it's within one fairing is actually a stack of 60 of them. They're quite.
These are micro satellite sort of things.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and it's Starlink is going to provide a worldwide fast, low latency broadband service, and particularly aimed at remote areas that don't have access to fast broadband. So that's pretty much what it's for. But they're planning on literally thousands of over the next year. They're planning on 1,200 of them.
Wow.
So it's an awful lot. Yeah, I mean it's a bit controversial now, to be fair.
What's the controversy? Littering space or what?
Yeah, well, that's one of them. Yeah, I mean, there's already a lot of satellites up there already. There's a lot of junk, and you can see the results of that with launches. Because I do watch a lot of launches. I don't always stream them, but I've watched a lot of launches over the last 3 or 4 years on YouTube before I started streaming them. And the launch windows are getting narrower and narrower, and that's for that very reason, because they need to launch within a certain time frame to avoid any kind of danger of any collisions. So now you're actually seeing quite narrow launch windows of 5 or 10 minutes, and quite often what they call instant launch windows. Well, they have to launch at literally at a given time. If they don't, then it's scrubbed.
And of course, there was talk about sort of cleanup missions, wasn't there? harpooning satellite. Although, of course, there's all
kinds of weird and wonderful ideas. Yeah. I mean, there's going to have to be a solution at some point. I mean, now what a lot of satellites, and particularly Starlink, are actually doing now is that with these Starlink satellites, they've actually got their own propulsion system.
Yeah.
So what they do is they get themselves into the right orbit. So when they actually come to the end of their natural lives, because they can't last forever, they actually deorbit themselves and burn out in the atmosphere. So something like 95% of the satellite would just burn up in the atmosphere, and there'd just be a little bit of metal somewhere.
I was just about to say, why haven't they thought of that before? It's not rocket science. Oh, it is.
Of course, it's rocket science. You dork.
Oh yeah, it's the Jutmonkthe.
Oi, Jut.
People.
I didn't see you sneak in there, monkey.
I did.
I've been sat here for a little 30 seconds or so. Just thought, well, wait for me moment.
I saw you there, Jut, and I decided to ignore you.
Yeah, you're complete and utter plum.
Actually, Jut, update for you, mate. The Conspirator Cheese Awards is proceeding apace, so that will be coming soon. Mr. Jutmonk will be introducing everyone to it, won't you, sir?
Ooh,
Certainly will, man.
Yeah, certainly will. Should be good.
Yeah.
Who lit the monkey and says Robert Leger
I
3?
can't wait for that. Yeah, Robert Leger the third. Oi, oi, bruv. Beers all round. Dark Knight apologetic. Cha la 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 la. Mr. Victory. And it's our friend, the massive dork Kennedy in space. Hello there, Joseph France. Irish stew, me old pal.
Hey,
tune.
hey, Chuck, can I make a prediction?
Go on then.
I predict that you've had a drink or two.
I've had a drink or two, yeah.
I thought you might have done.
I'm actually on my second one.
Nice one.
I'd be lying to everyone, wouldn't I?
Yeah, well, you wouldn't want to do that.
Jutmonkthe Monkey.
Yeah, it wouldn't work out then, really, would it?
It hasn't quite got the same ring. I could
Mind
sit
you,
and
it
have a
says
load of monsters, Red Bulls and coffees and call myself Jutmonkthe the Caffeine Monkey.
Well, we got 1 minute.
Quite so rude, but I'll certainly be a little hyper.
Well, as you hinted there, Chuck, we got Dead Kennedy in space there. Good evening. And 1 minute debunkers dropped in. I'm not sure how long you guys have been there, but hello.
1 minute debunk.
Hello. Hello.
Glober Mum.
Glober Mum.
Yes.
Good evening.
1 minute debunk. Listen, pal, you ain't got a minute, have you?
How are you, Glober?
I'm good.
Excuse me. Good. Did you catch the chat with Craig this evening?
I did. I think I caught. I think I missed the first 5 minutes. But I caught the majority of it.
Can I ask what you? And I would want an honest opinion. Can I ask what you think of doing this sort of format, having a chat like this? Do you think it's a good idea?
It's quite nice. Yeah, it is a good idea. Craig was very accommodating and civilized, but I think Casual Spaceman is right. He's gone down the rabbit hole. Yeah,
but at least if he's down a rabbit hole, he's down a rabbit hole and talking in a civil manner with those he disagrees with, which
he's not plugging his ears and going na 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 when you're trying to talk. So that's
and exactly what you said as well. He seems honest as well. So
I think so,
which is a good start. I think dishonesty. I think does frustrate a lot of people. Well, pretty much on both sides, and particularly on our side. I think people get frustrated.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's people like Nathan Oakley using his mute button, he's shouting, he's misrepresenting. That's absolute dishonesty. And then I've just done a response video. I think it was yesterday to what's he? Sleeping Warrior. I can't think of his real name. Anthony Riley.
I watched that. Oh my God! I wanted to reach the screen and slap him.
But he does keep. If someone put forward a claim and said, you guys are saying the Earth, you got the atmosphere and it's right next to a vacuum, so the pressure would dissipate instantly. And then we explain, well, no, you don't have 14.7 or 10 or 3.5 psi right next to the vacuum. It's a gradient down to 0. He's been told that again and again and again. So now there is no excuse to be saying that's what we're claiming. And that's dishonest.
He doesn't want to hear it.
No, not at all. Not at all. Oh, that's gone quiet.
Somebody was telling me that his egg experiment. He's actually deleted his egg experiment video from his channel.
Bit late, Casual. He was my first.
I think he did.
He was my first busted with cheese when you see it all, and he uses a TDS meter to measure the density. Oh man! But the people,
not that he knew what that meter was or what the figures actually meant.
It's just a number.
During the video.
It's just a number.
It's just a number. You can disregard that. It's just a number.
Yeah, I don't know what it means. It's just a number. You know,
he actually said it could be unicorn farts.
Yeah.
But because the beauty, from my point of view, is I keep a marine aquarium with obviously marine fish and corals. So it's absolutely critical I keep that water in perfect condition. So the water that comes in goes through a reverse osmosis deionized resin filtration system, and I measure that it has 0 parts per million TDS. So I knew exactly what it was, which obviously he didn't. And it does not measure density because it's got nothing to do with it. And again, I've shut everyone up.
We're
Gary
contemplating.
Graham did an experiment like that. He had like a 3-compartment thing he made on his that's a printer or whatever. It's like a 3D printer, I guess.
No,
anyway, he made that.
No. Good evening.
Did the same thing with salt and everything.
I didn't see that at all, Globe Mom. And that's SKYFLYBRI in the background there.
Yes.
Good evening.
Hi, Skyfly.
Hi there, people.
Hey, darling, how are you?
Darling.
9 o'clock hero.
Good
Colon in the chat. Hello, Colon.
I wonder when you're going to speak up, Skyfly.
I was being quiet, just listening.
Mr. Sensible.
Just listening.
Yes, John.
It's worth a watch, Mr. Sensible.
Well, Globe
Curve show tonight. That was very funny.
Globe Mum, drop me a link sometime. I'll have a look. Sorry, what was that you were shouting out to me, Jet?
Yeah, your Riley video was brilliant, mate.
Did you like it?
Yeah, especially when the song bit where he's swinging from side to side. It was really
I think he likes it.
It's funny.
Oh, thank you. But listen,
anyone not seen it, which I'm sure you all probably have, but go and check it out.
Thank you.
I think the grated cheese squashed together to represent density was an excellent demonstration. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I've got a video. I'm going to shield myself, right? I've got a video sort of 95% complete. I've just got final my effort at audio balancing and that sort of thing to do. Out Tuesday night. It's an absolute cracker. It is totally different than anything I've done, and I'm busting to. I'd play it tonight if it was ready. Honestly, I recommend looking at it. It's only going to be a short one, less than 6 minutes, but it's a corker. And it's not being nasty or putting anyone down or anything like that. It's just something very different, and I'm so looking forward to it. I'm excited about this one.
Oh, it's always exciting to do something a bit different to see what how people are going to react to it. So yeah, it is exciting, and I know that.
Well, I guess
Spirit hard cheese is gonna rock.
Yeah, but it's not that one, no, Jack. This is something.
I know it's not that one, but that is gonna rock.
I certainly hope so. What do you reckon, Jack? Excuse me? Do you think I should just do it as a video, or do you think I should do it as a premiere?
Premiere. If it's something different, premiere. Yeah. If it's something different, you've definitely got a premiere.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
You get instant feedback.
Well, the one on Tuesday is too short for that, and I'll be honest, you have to watch it very closely Otherwise, you'll miss bits and it won't really make sense. The Cheese Awards is something else. And I'm sort of leaning that way as well, making it a premiere on a Friday or Saturday.
Awards has to be a premiere. Come on.
Make sure I can be available. Like,
well, yes, you've got to be there, haven't you? Got to be there.
You're busy, Matt.
You're busy at the moment. It's driving me mental.
I was going to say you're
that's why I've
busy
not done
man.
much with my channel, people.
Yeah.
Sorry, you say you deleted your channel?
No.
Have you got much time off in the horizon, Jut, or what's going on?
Well, hopefully, I say this every week. I've got 2 days off, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Oh, nice.
I really am gonna dedicate at least a whole day to YouTube, and finish what I need to finish. I'm gonna do some stuff tomorrow as well because I finish early.
Yeah, well, Tuesday you can maybe just chill out, relax, get your energies back, and get your thoughts into gear, and then Wednesday you can do your YouTube stuff.
Yeah, maybe. See how I play it. Do you want in on that? Truth is not a hoax. Mr. Kennedy's done his part.
Who you talking to?
What?
The Mr. Casual Spaceman, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I said you asked me that before. Yeah. I'll definitely do a bit if you want me to do a bit.
Yeah, do whatever you like, mate. Just say how it made you feel. Just whatever, whatever you like. I'll show you what's been done so far, so you don't copy anything. But,
me copy? How dare you, sir?
Both saying the same thing. Rocking. Sing us the song then, Glober Mom. And I'll dance with you.
Excuse me. I don't know any song to sing right now. My voice is not up to par, so.
Well, when you're thinking of a song.
My tail anyway, don't you?
Oh, don't start that again, Jat. You filthy animal.
Yes.
All the girls like
Besides,
my tail.
last time you fell asleep on my lap, Jet. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Well, it just felt so comfy,
Yeah, it was nice and warm, huh?
Yeah.
Right.
And you smell nice.
Oi, has anyone got
better than my mum?
Right, Jut, if you carry on, I'm going to hit that chuck a bucket of cold water over the Discord member button. All right.
Uh-oh.
Rider of Dinosaurs. I don't know if anyone else has heard of this. Says, I'm not sure if you've seen, but it seems YouTube is cancelling Google accounts. It says for emoji spam. I don't know. And he's left a link to a video of a big YouTuber with 34 million subs whose subs have been affected.
Markiplier.
Yeah, what's that all about?
That's got to be a cock up. Surely the bots have gone a bit wrong on that. Surely.
What is it that's supposed to have happened then?
I don't know.
That's
first heard about it.
I'm trying to find the link.
More details,
he
please.
was claiming that people that in his chat were using a bunch of emojis and spamming them like we do.
Yeah.
And they were finding that their Google accounts were suspended.
So a few messages up at 10:29 in the chat. Marcus Dresden gives about 9 thumbs up, says thumbs up, and about another 8, 9, 10 thumbs up.
Right.
Are you saying
I'm gonna
that?
put a link in the chat.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
So what? Because you're using too many emojis, your account gets closed down.
Right? Is that the person that's posting the emojis, or is it the person that's getting suspended?
The commenters that are posting emojis are getting their account suspended. Not just YouTube, but Google's doing it.
What?
Right.
Actually, if you watch,
got to be wrong.
I can't do a link. I'm not a mod, so I can't put a link on it. But it's under Markiplier Games.
Well, Rider with Dinosaurs.
The first video.
Rider with Dinosaurs has just dropped a link to it.
Okay.
Yeah. So just to be sure, my account isn't at risk if 1 Minute Debunk there or Robert Leger decides to.
Yours would not be. The commenters.
Okay. But I wonder if for instance, I mean, I've just allowed one now from Marcus Dresden. So if I said no, hide that comment, is that what triggers it? Do you think?
No, he's not sure. He was just noticing that it was people were using. I guess he still has the comments. You can look at them.
Yeah.
But it was showing the email saying that they were automatically reviewed. people would appeal them, and they're like, well, we appeals cannot be overturned or whatever it was. It was like YouTube wasn't wanting to play ball or something.
Wow.
That's
because it was under the automation part of it, I guess. You know,
I'm gonna
it was
have
weird. I don't know.
I'm gonna have to
Those emojis
stop
all the
going
time.
Watch the
oi
video.
oi and
Watch the
dishing out the
video.
beers every time I go into chat now, aren't I?
Hey, you'll only just have to put one beer up. It's a cheap round, Jut.
Yeah, very true.
Mm.
I'll drink
I
the
don't know if
rest.
he knows exactly what it is, but I guess he's guessing. But watch the video. He does explain on what's on his end, what's been going on.
Now, Mr. Victory says emotes. So is that different than emojis?
Emotes or emojis? Yeah. Well, I think he had emotes that had like, oh, what was it? He asked questions, put up this green paddle for whatever, red paddle for this. So maybe it's with his personal emotes. I don't know.
What's the difference between emotes and emojis then?
Yeah.
I think emotes are what you get when you're like a member. You have those special emotes you can use, nobody else can use.
Oh, are they like sort
Oh,
of
okay.
Member or join the channel.
Oh,
These
that
sort of
clears
put-
things up.
Those.
these sort of purchase stickers?
Yes.
Because
but he was saying in his video that there's people that purchase memberships, their account is literally banned. They can't even, so their money, they're putting money out for something they can't even view anymore.
Wow. Good morning, Lizzie Beth. Good morning to you.
Hey.
Wow.
Hang on.
So yeah, so the video explains it on his end, what's going on.
Okay. Well, I'll have to have a look at that.
Yeah.
Thanks for the tip, Ryder. That's interesting. Obviously,
Yeah.
some of us had heard of that, some of us hadn't.
Yeah, I saw it on Twitter and then
me.
investigated it.
News to me.
Mm. But then I don't do it, and I guess you don't either, Casual.
Well, Reg was even saying he's not going to ask people to do 1 and 2s anymore, just to be on the safe side. In his chats, he's not going to ask all that like he does.
Oh,
Yes.
I do actually, Mr. Sensible. I do
Right,
quite,
okay.
not quite a bit, but I do from time to time. So yeah.
That's interesting because Chrisma has just said emotes and emojis are different names for the same things. I'd never heard of emotes before. But then years back, they used to be called emoticons. Emotion icons. Has anyone heard that? Emoticons?
Yeah, I've
that's
heard of
what I thought,
emoticons.
Yeah. And then it became emoji.
Emotes. Right. It went to emotes, and I think it went to emojis. So we'll
Right.
still use both, I guess.
Well, all learn something new every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Griffin has said, no, it's EMJ. EMJ.
Oh, I see it. EMJ.
And Tripping Fool says they need to unplug the AI and hire actual personnel. Yeah.
That's it.
Although,
Yeah.
Because
I mean, the poor. What about Slice Bar Kane? His copyright strike removed. I hope everyone's heard that.
I saw that. Yeah.
Isn't that great? And
That's two he's had removed, doesn't he? Because there was one that was removed, and then
there was
another
the laser
one.
test, right? The laser one he did.
Yep.
That was pulled.
yeah, but I
That
think
was moved in September, I think.
Yeah, that's right. And this one, there's another one that's actually been the strike's been removed for that one as well. And that was both of those from FE Core, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yes.
So it's fantastic news.
Could I just jump in quickly?
Please do, Monkey.
I'm gonna have to love you and leave you because I need to prepare for my show tonight. Do you mind if I shill it out
That's
quickly?
right. Yep.
Of course, go ahead.
It's not on the Shills channel. It's on
Wow.
Science or Satire at
Sweet.
midnight GMT.
I heard this. So they were talking about this last night. I'm letting the monkey take over Science or Satire. Are they wise?
Absolutely.
Are they wise?
It's gotta go off.
It's gonna go nuts.
I think they're mad to let you take over. I tell you.
Love it, man.
Should be a good show either way.
Satire, but it's not showing up here.
I'm just having a look as well.
Any of your mods pop the link in the chat? If you wouldn't mind.
Well, right now there isn't a link to the video. It hasn't. They haven't sort of pre-done it.
No.
No, but what we can do is we can link the channel. So
What time's it on? Yep. What time's it on?
It's midnight.
Oh, midnight. Yeah, GMT. That is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So midnight GMT Science or Satire. There you go.
Well, there's the link. I've just dropped it in for the channel. I can't link to the actual video anyway.
Right.
So,
Thank you. Yes, mate.
Is it just you? Is there anything you can tell us about it without giving away any secrets you don't want to give away, of course?
Do you know what, mate?
Yep.
I don't know much about it myself. I think it's just going to be ours, we do our thing, but it's on their channel.
Sorry, just you doing your thing, or Shills doing their thing?
The Shills.
The Shills, yeah.
So what's the problem? Have they not paid their rent?
Well,
The club's being renovated.
they won't be paying anything once I've been on there.
Oh dear.
No, I'll behave. I've got a gimp mask and an apple.
And an apple.
Don't chuck any.
I'll be on the show
Just
with
don't
that.
chuck any pool balls at anybody.
Oh, God, a monkey with a gimp mask. That's going to be entertaining.
You'll just be hearing me bashing my tail on the floor.
I thought you were just about to say
chest.
something. I thought you were just about to say something else there for a second.
So did I.
You've got a dirty mind, haven't you, Casual Space Bar, or what
No, I
your
get-
bleeding name is?
Yeah, but I get that from you, Jut.
Right.
Colon has just put a link in it. Said Midnight Rampage for the Monkey and the Shills takeover of Fight the Flat Earth.
Hang on.
Yeah,
Not
Silence of Saturn.
Cabinet here.
Ah.
It's
well,
Team
hang on a
Skeptic and FTFE.
Yes, it is. It's on. Yeah.
It's,
It's on
must,
FTFE's channel.
right, yeah. So it's
Yes.
Science and Satire show on FTFE's channel. Because what they do is they do the live stream either on T Skeptics or FTFE.
Right.
Yeah.
And then what they do, they post the actual video on Science and Satire channel. That's how it works.
Okay.
It's showing it starts
It's
in
just
79 minutes,
all the way
so-
through our private chat. It's saying SOS.
Yeah, well, you know why?
SOS.
Jut, they want you sat on SOS swinging your tail all alone while they have fun elsewhere. That's what it is.
Oh. They do realise that everyone will be watching me.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Nothing more entertaining than watching the Drunk Monkey. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
You're
There's
right.
not many of them around.
Hey, Casual, you should drop... Oh, maybe you can't. I shall do it for you. We'll drop a link for your channel in here as well, of course.
Well, the stream that's on Monday for the launch is actually on my channel. It's all set up, ready to go. So
Okay, let me get hold of that.
So that'd be lovely. Thank you very much. Very kind of you. Thank you.
My pleasure. Live, Elon Musk presents Starship. Is that the one?
What's that? Sorry, say again?
Elon Musk presents Starship update.
No,
not that one.
No, not that one. No, it's
No.
one that's. If you look a bit further along, it's set up for Monday, I think.
Right, I'm going to say good night, all. Thank you for having me on, Mr. Sensible.
Judd.
I'll say good night, Mum.
Good
love
night.
you. Mwah, mwah,
Catch you
mwah,
later, Judd.
mwah.
I'll
Good.
see you in a bit, Jut.
Yeah, take care, Jut.
I just want to say Marcus Dresden. I just want to say hello to a few others. Bo Nelson, Mr. Victory, Lizzie Beth Griffin. Yeah, I don't think I've met you before. And of course the Knights and everyone else. Good night.
Good night, Jut.
See you later, Jut.
You
Good
not.
night.
Casual, I'm just looking at your channel videos. The first one that's on there is one that only went up 46 minutes ago. So I recommend after this stream, everyone pops over there and has a look, how the ISS was assembled. Did you see my video about Jeranism when he photoed the transit of the ISS across the sun?
Yes, I saw that.
No, I haven't seen that one actually. I must admit.
Okay.
No,
Because
I tell you, I'll give you the link.
Hello?
I'll give you the link for the launch in just a second. Hold on.
Okay. No, what I was going to say about the Jeranism thing, one of the things I used to debunk him was pictures of the ISS transiting the sun when it was part constructed. One of the earliest stages when it was a totally different shape.
Oh.
Nice one, yeah.
Yeah, so that sort of proved it, I think. And by the way, just going into chat now is the direct links to Casual's video, How the ISS was Assembled. There it goes. And you said you just dropped me a link where Casual... Oh, I see.
And the I've just tagged you, and I think what is it, the lounge or something?
Yeah, I've got it.
Wait, oh no, that's fine. Just the one is fine. That's okay. Everybody knows where my channel is. So
hey, Casual,
if you look
Casual. I'm a generous man, mate. Here we go. Live launch Starlink 1 Falcon 9. Here's the link.
That's the one.
There you go.
Thank you very much. Very good of you. Thank you
my
very
pleasure.
much.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Well, now you're one of the big boys. You see, you sailed past me a long time ago. Now you're one of the big boys. You can do this sort of.
Yeah.
Oh no! I've got an error on my live stream. Am I still coming through? All right. Still looking okay right now.
Yeah.
Coming through at the moment. Yeah.
Well, I hope so.
Okay.
But my broadcast thing is showing an error occurred. Oh, I don't know what's going on there.
Still on there, from what I can see.
It's good here. Colon has just said something on the chat. He said, subscribe to the Casual Spaceman, the only astronaut who thinks he can play the guitar in space, and then link my channel. Thank you very much, Colon.
What about Chris Hadfield, dude? Come on, Colin.
I know.
He played the guitar on the ISS.
Yeah, you can play guitar in space, can't you? Inside the ISS, I think probably what he means that not outside of
floating.
in the vacuum. Yeah, in the vacuum of space.
Well, I mean, the vacuum of space would be fine. I could play it in the vacuum of space, which would be quite good because no bugger would hear it.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
That's my guitar playing too.
Yeah, it's probably the best place for me to play as well.
Nobody can hear it.
I just looking again at my broadcast stream. It still says an error has occurred. Try again later. That's weird because it's still coming through okay.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's still going. Yeah.
Good. I won't rock the boat then.
If it ain't broke, don't
touch it.
Absolutely.
Don't touch it.
Well, I'm getting better. I'm getting better because the only error I've had tonight is when I started the stream for about 5 seconds. I was talking and realised I hadn't enabled my mic sound. So I 5 second of error. So I'm definitely getting better.
Well, just to break in here, Ryder's got a premiere in 15 minutes.
Oh, has he? Sorry, Ryder. Am I clashing with anyone? Well, obviously me right now. Anyone else out there clashing with Ryder's premiere? I guess at 2300, is it, Rod?
Right.
I presume
it's
so.
Showing in 13 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody else. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not aware of anything else. Just this stream. This is where it's awkward, isn't it, Casual? I don't know if you've had the problem. You stick up a video and then find you're clashing with something or someone else.
Yeah, I try when the premieres. I try and not to clash with people.
Yeah.
And I tend to do mine maybe about sort of like 11:30 midnight, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Seems to be a good time to clash with not too many people. But in terms of sort of like just releasing videos, I'm not too bothered because people can just come to them whenever they want to.
Yeah, that's true. And I guess we've all got to accept there will be clashes. I mean, when I do my videos, I just plump for 9:15. I'd done some later, did some at 9, went for 9:15, didn't seem to clash, and I generally don't. So 9:15 is my slot. Nobody else use it, please.
I always try to do a few days ahead of time so I can chill it out every day and stuff.
Yep.
And I'll check on my subscribers and everything to make sure I'm not clashing with anybody on my premiere.
But it's
it's
going to happen.
Easy, though. Yeah.
I mean, it's going to happen.
I mean, a lot of my live streams are obviously launches, so I'm tied in with whatever the space agency are launching at whatever time they do it, and it does clash sometimes. But there's nothing I can do about it if we've got if I'm going to stream, at whatever time it's they decide to launch. So,
well, Casual, have you ever thought of contacting them and asking if they'll move?
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah. Can you just hang on for a couple of hours, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure Elon Musk would be pleased with that. Yeah.
Come on, Elon. Mr. Sensible's doing a live chat.
Exactly.
Hey, Ryder, drop a link into the chat for your premiere. What's this? Mr. Sensible, okay, I'll quit YouTube then. What's this? Not now, Rod. Don't quit now.
No, don't.
No.
You're like,
No.
Sweatshirt.
Yeah, did you hear that, Rod? He's cut one of your shirts. I mean,
I got two.
Two. Blimey.
Oh, did you know that also a friend here, sorry, I put my teeth back in, Skyfly, he's doing the transit of the of Mercury, on Monday.
Wow, nice one, Brian.
He's you've got a stream set up, haven't you, Skyfly?
No, I haven't got a stream set up to do it live because I don't have the equipment to do it now. I used to have, but I sold it all.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Oh, right. You're just gonna view what other people are doing. Is that what you?
Yeah. It's visible from the UK for about 80% of it, and America, Brazil, all those areas can see 100% of it. So there's going to be hundreds of videos on YouTube. I just put it up like a month or so before it happens, and it happens in a couple of days' time, because lots of people don't know about it.
Yes.
So other people will see it and they'll go, "Yeah, I'll do that." And
it's just that you were talking a few days ago when I was talking to the chat. It's almost like I thought you were talking about streaming it yourself. I just get that impression. I've got the wrong impression. Sorry about that.
That's okay. No problem. Yeah. Oh yeah. Thank you, Casual Spaceman. In 2 days' time, on the 11th of this month, a transit of Mercury will pass the Sun. And this proves heliocentric Earth.
Has to. Yeah, absolutely has to.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't hear a single flat earther saying, well, based on flat earth science, we're predicting that Mercury will pass just underneath the sun, or whatever it is, at 2,500 miles.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Yeah,
I mean that.
I mean, this is one. I mean, I don't know if you know, but one of the questions that Jose had 3 questions that he posed to, I think it was on Nathan Oakley's channel. And one of the questions was, can you provide a calculator or an app or anything like that that can accurately predict events that happen on the flat Earth? Is there any? And they just came up with a whole load of deflections, a whole lot of excuses, but basically there isn't any.
Abuse mainly, wasn't
it? Yeah, particularly by not Ranty. Was it Ranty? Yeah, that was going duh. Yeah, it was Ranty, wasn't it?
Yeah,
but you know, that was one of the questions, and there's no predictors, there's no calculators that can predict anything that happens on the flat Earth because it doesn't work.
Well, when they talked about lunar eclipses, they always say, well, it's the cycles. But then the cycles might predict, well, you're going to get an eclipse sometime early March, but not this area, this exact time to the second, lasting this long, which you can do with our astronomy. Because I think I mentioned last time, in 1982, I had, as a teenager or whatever, Patrick Moore's 1982 Yearbook of Astronomy. And in there were tables of future eclipses, including
I had that book.
Yeah, including the total solar eclipse, August 1999, I think it was, wasn't it? Where it would cross the tip of Cornwall. So back in 1982, so 17 years before, I was looking forward to going to see that in 1999, and I did.
Oh, Patrick Moore! I used to sit in front of the TV on BBC and Patrick Moore, and it was I think it was a Sunday night, wasn't it, or something?
The Sky at Night, yeah.
The Sky at Night on a was it a Sunday or something, wasn't it? Oh, I can't remember what day it was.
Yeah.
I think it was something like a Sunday. I remember sitting in front of the TV as a kid, was sitting there fascinated watching it. That was probably the only time I was ever quiet, I think.
Saucy London has said it was Quantum Eraser. Is that talking to you?
Quantum Eraser. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Quantum Eraser. Not. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
I don't really give a monkey about who's doing. They're all a bunch of can't mention it live.
Well, you know,
I picture Nathan like Mo when the Stooges, like they're the Three Stooges, and Nathan is like Mo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's the big bully. That's what I picture him as.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, the only predictable flat Earth evidence is Dower talking complete bullshit for 2 hours on Saturday night. We don't know where we live. Water's always flat. Get your fuck. That's Stella. You know, that's 5 years. That's 5 years. Get your fuck. Water's always flat. That's all he does.
Well, I mean, that's flat Earth science for you, isn't it?
Did you fall?
Do you know the one thing that I've always presented to this? People keep saying that water always finds its level.
Yeah.
And I say, well, I've shown them photographs of a drop of water on a leaf. Why isn't that finding its level?
Well, do you know what? I don't. I've seen that as well before, Casual, but I'm not sure if that's the right sort of evidence to use, because at that sort of scale, other effects are topping gravity.
It's not evidence. What it is it's just proving a point, really, more than anything else. Of course, it's not evidence. Absolutely not.
I think a more practical evidence.
I haven't seen any of them actually come back with a reasonable reply. Not once.
I think a more practical evidence would be that water's flat in a swimming pool, reservoir, or lake because it's not moving. But if it's moving, it can't be flat because if it's moving.
Yeah,
exactly.
But exactly. Then, if there was no waves or weather or whatever, they would say there should be a curve on the swimming pool. Of course, there is a curve. It's just absolutely microscopic.
Yeah, if you take a 100-foot beam,
scale,
100-foot beam, an RSJ or whatever, it may look completely straight, but in reality, that's 100 feet, and a mile is my brain's gone. I can't remember. 5,820 feet.
I would dispute you saying about the swimming pool, Mr. Sensible, because I know for a fact that when they actually build houses, small buildings, they don't really take any consideration about the curvature because it's not necessary because it's such small distances that it doesn't really matter.
Absolutely, but what I would say, Casual, right? Yeah. Let's say it's an Olympic-sized swimming pool, okay, and we'll give it the same depth at each end of 10 foot. But then the allowance might be, I don't know, I'm pulling figures out my butt, but, a quarter of a millimetre, in which case you're just not going to bother with it because it will make no difference. But I think because the ball on the scale of the Earth, if it was a ball purely of water, and let's say you froze it solid and it froze evenly, there is a curve everywhere. But over the length of this desk in front of me, if that was the surface, you're not going to see it. At the length of half a mile, if you had the right equipment, you might just be able to measure it and so on. And after 3 miles, 8 inches? The flat Earth thing, 8 inches per mile squared. So if it's 8 inches over a mile, there's going to be a bit over the length of Olympic swimming pool. But if it's half a millimetre, it's not going to make any difference.
No, exactly. That's why they don't bother.
No, exactly.
Because it is a small difference. Yeah, they don't bother with it. There's no point because it's not going to make any difference to anybody, that even people using it.
Or the water. The water isn't going to pour out because of it, unless you were making one of those infinity pools. Then I suppose you might have to.
Yeah,
if it was...
I mean, but things like building motorways, railway tracks, very large buildings, airport runways, things like that are over distances. Then absolutely they take curvature into account. But small buildings, they just generally.
But I saw one about railways. I forget where it was. From London to Liverpool, whatever the distance is. Then the curve, if you cut a chord line between London and Liverpool, the hump in between would be however high it was, 800 feet, just for the sake of argument. So how is it the trains can go up 800 foot? No, they just don't get it. It's distance from the centre of the Earth. So leaving aside hills and valleys, and of course they do cuttings and viaducts, you're still the same distance from the centre of the Earth.
Yeah.
Jimmy Jedi done the same thing with railway lines. He measured one point and then measured different points across the railway line and noticed that it rose like 2 meters and went down 3 meters and then went up 5 meters. Yep. And over the course of 100 miles, it was back to zero. And he said, well, if it's zero that end and zero that end, it must be flat.
Guys, I am not Mr. Anthony Riley. I'm taking 2 minutes. I'll be back in a sec. Carry on.
No problem.
Turn your mic off.
Sorry, do you guys see the? I did this video, debunked it, but the Pratt video, we did the water bottle, put it on its side.
Excuse me.
And said about if there's no gravity, if there's gravity, the water should go like out to the side or something.
Sorry, what video is this, Global Mum?
It was a video where the Daniel Pratt did with a water bottle, and he stuck it on his workbench on its side, and it was filled up about. You can see little. I mean, it was up to the cap.
Oh yeah, why don't the water pile up on it?
Right, he took the cap off and said, "Look, it's shooting out." I'm like, "No, you dummy! It's shooting out and down." You know,
why isn't it piling up on the floor? That was
exactly. Like he took the pile up on the floor, and I showed this video of this guy that did this, which was debunked, where he took the cup and lifted it up, and the water was sitting there, the shape of the cup. And I told him, "You expect it to look just like this?" You know, I think that's what he thought. It was like a column of water. Yeah, I was just like,
I
"Oh my
love Pratt
god!"
science.
who did that? Who did that video, Global Mum?
Daniel Pratt.
Oh, it was Pratt. Yeah, I couldn't hear what you're saying.
And I made the comment about him when the water shoots out the side. I said, "Only if your barbecue is over there."
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
You know, hey, he's back. Woo!
With an Arnold.
We were talking about Daniel Pratt and his how shall I say experiments. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
He's posting a lot of videos lately. I was thinking of taking him off my, the auto notify on the Discord server when he's got.
Can't do that.
What, Pratt?
That's where I get my notifications from.
Oh yeah, everyone else is fine, but Pratt with about 3 or 4 videos a day of him in his cellar tied to a boiler or whatever it is.
What was so bad though was when he did the water and poured it out, there was electrical cords right next to it.
Oh.
Just bonkers, just dude.
Well,
Yeah.
Darwin Award.
Exactly. Exactly.
So we still got everyone.
I
I haven't got the chat up anymore. I keep losing windows. Okay, so who we got? Bo Nielsen. Good evening. Woody Woodpecker. Arnold looks unhappy about where your finger is. Arnold he's my boy. He just loves me. He's always happy no matter what I do.
Oh, look at him.
Yeah, don't you, Arnold? He's a good lad.
What's he say? I'm only here for the cheese.
And the flirts. Oh, I lost the back window here.
Oh, is he a flirt hunter? Is he?
So
Oh yeah, he's on there in one of the videos with the cheese experiment, and he eats the experiment. Oh, he's a good lad. He's a good lad. Dark Knight Apologetics. Hello to you. And I just realised this background. Oh, it's the same thing. It's just fed through adverts. It'll disappear in a second. 1 minute debunk. Hi Arnold. Oh, he went like that. I'm not sure what he thinks. 1 minute debunk. Anyway, who else we got on here? Zaphod Beeblebrox. He's just this guy, you know. Oh, Pyro Kitty Cat. I don't know.
Zaphod Beeblebrox. I've never heard of him before. Bo Nielsen. Never seen him before.
Yeah, I've seen both of them before.
Yeah, I've seen him in there before.
Zaphod Beeblebrox. A question for Zaphod Beeblebrox, president of the galaxy. Here's a question.
Posted my
a link, was it?
video.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
My video.
Do you remember Disaster Area? That band who was playing, yeah, and the main singer who was spending a year dead for tax reasons was Hot Black Desiato was his name. Why was he named Hot Black Desiato? Can you tell me? General knowledge for Mr. Zaphod Beeblebrox. There's a very good reason. Does anyone else know? No?
No, I can't know that, to be honest with you.
Okay.
No, not really.
Well, I'm going to get set up for the answer while he's having a think about it. So if he puts in chat what it is, I'm just trying to find it. No cheating, mind. No cheating at all. I knew this. I just want to get an image to prove it. That one will do. Yes. And I'll set up my OBS to pick it up. A new scene with a source of a window capture. God, so many little steps to do.
Of course.
Yeah, definitely. But it's on, and this is where, if I'm not careful, I screw up. I got it. Let's just size it right. Oh, come on. Oh, I think that'll do. Right, so what am I looking at right now? Oh, I haven't sent it live already, have I? Have I sent it live? I have! Oh, I did screw it up. I don't know if you can see. Did he actually say what Hot Black Desiato was? No, he didn't say. Hot Black Desiato is an estate agent in, I think it's Camden.
Yes.
And what happened is Douglas Adams.
Martin did.
Douglas, sorry?
Martin H. said, Islington estate agent.
That's right. I think that, oh, what's his name? Douglas Adams was passing and thought, that'll be a good name. And it was as simple as that. Yeah.
That's usually how it works.
Hot Black Des. It's a fantastic name. And I've managed to screw up everything here, haven't I? I've been having issues with OBS.
Yes, noticed.
Oh no!
Colin wants to know is, have you been giving Arnold elocution lessons from Mr. Jim Bells?
No, Arnold doesn't.
Has Arnold been getting his elocution lessons from Mr. Jim Bells?
No, Arnold doesn't need elocution. Arnold just stares menacingly.
Yes.
I had a friend with a cat called Fenton Claypole, and he picked that off. Remember the old red telephone boxes?
Yeah.
They used to have the board at the back with all the posts, the dialing codes.
Okay.
They gave you a list of all places with the dialing codes, and Fenton Claypole was one of the places on the board. He just picked the name off that for his cat.
Well, it's an interesting name, isn't it? Fenton.
Fenton Claypole.
Fenton! Do you remember? Fenton!
I remember that. Good night, everyone.
Oh, are you off, Brian?
Yeah, I'm off to bed now, mate.
Okay.
Only 11:06, but I'm tired.
Not a problem, mate. It's good to see you in here.
Thank you very much. See you later. Bye.
Enjoy Monday, Sky.
Super.
Yeah, good luck with that. Oh, he's gone. Well, yeah, certainly. Yep. Good luck with that, Bri. Hope it goes well. Oh, I got rid of that. I managed to really screw up my pic. Oh no, I think it's fixed again. Yeah,
yeah, you're back.
Yeah, but that's at full size. I've got 2 versions. But what's happened?
Oh, okay.
What has happened is I've been working on this video today, and I've had several videos open. I've had my video editing software, which I've had to run to about 10 audio tracks and I think about 10 video tracks simultaneously.
Wow.
The machines cope with that. Hey, it's high IQ video editing, I think.
There you go. There you go.
But it seems to have screwed up OBS. OBS has behaved all right up until now this evening, but when I first got Craig in and we connected in, my OBS, I had to reboot because OBS was mucking me around. I don't know. It's not the most stable of things. Casual, your live streams, what do you use?
I use OBS, and I have similar problems to you. I'm still kind of learning how to use it properly. My video always seems to be not to be too much of an issue, or streaming or anything like that. It seems to be always have problems with sound.
Yeah. Do you use any of this sort of banana software or whatever?
I haven't yet. No. I did. I had to. Well, going back a few months ago, I did try it, but then I had to factory reset my computer because it had some horrible stuff on it that was causing me problems. And I haven't reinstalled it since. And I was starting to learn how to use it. But from what I understand, it once you learn how to use it, it does give you quite a lot more control. From what I understand.
Well, I had an issue. The first time I was going on the shills, they recommend I used it, and I think it was Dick Dawson, I'm not sure, or Canadian Thomas tried to help me set it up. and we had all the settings right. You could hear it here, you could hear it there, but nothing come out the other end. And so in the end, we had to give it up as a bad job. I tried again the other day, and I just don't get anything out of it. I think I'll have to uninstall it and try again. But it's a nightmare.
So yeah, I'll probably will install it at some point, learn how to use it, and then do a couple of little test streams just to see what the audio's like, see if it works, and then try it again, because I'm planning on sort of doing extra things, with the launches and the live streams, and I'm planning on doing different live streams as well as just the launches, and I want to do more interaction, have guests on, and things, different things like that. So I want to be able to sort of be able to control it a little bit better. But so I'll work on that and see how it goes. But I'm not getting my hopes up too high that it's going to be particularly useful. But OBS is not one of the easiest things to use. I've got to be honest.
Well, which version are you using? The latest one? 0.185.
Yeah, it's just been updated, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm getting on with it okay. One thing I would recommend, if you don't already, is to use the studio mode so that you've got screen by screen.
Yeah, I do that anyway.
Yeah, because it does. So you set it up and then transition.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I do that all the time. I think it's probably the most sensible thing to do. I think if you're streaming, or even recording. I mean, actually, I've used it to record a few times, but I was disappointed with the results with it. I've got to be honest.
Yeah.
Unless I had the settings wrong, perhaps. Yeah, I wasn't impressed with the results.
I mean, the YouTube download software I use is okay for most of the time, and every now and then I'll put a YouTube link and it just says can't resolve URL. So I had to do it today. Right. So what I do is I just make the window the right sort of size, load up OBS, record it as a window capture, and then that saves it as a .flv, and I'm good to go.
Oh, right, okay. Sounds not a bad idea. Yeah.
It seems to work
not
okay.
a bad idea. So yeah, I'll get it figured out at one point. Because I would like to do a lot more live streams. It seems to be the best way for most people channels on there for a lot of different reasons. So I think that's the way that it seems to be the way that a lot of people are going now. They're doing more live streams than they're doing videos these days, it seems.
Yeah. Well, Irish Stew's just asked if I've tried Audacity. It's got live mic feed. What I'm using is just a Logitech web camera. That's my mic as well. So I have no specific mic. My problem is I had sound coming in from there. I've got...
you're cutting out a bit there, Mr. Sensible.
You're breaking up.
Oh, I shall stay still. Maybe it's something... How is it now? Is it any better?
Yeah, it seems to be better now. Yeah.
Okay. So my graphics card, it's a fairly high-end graphics card, or at least it was when I bought the machine. That's got onboard sound. I think my computer had onboard sound anyway. So all those, and then if you install Voice Meter, that's another sound software thing. So it gets very confusing very quickly. The drivers, it's just a bloody nightmare.
Yeah. No, I like to keep things simple, during the stream, because there's only me. I don't have somebody doing the production for me. So if I want to interact as well with the chat and stuff like that, it's a bit difficult if you're switching and changing and doing all the work yourself. So I want to keep it. I did actually try vMix for a while on the free version, the free trial.
Yeah.
I actually quite liked it, but sadly my computer processor is not quite up to the speed it should be. I've got a 3.1, and then vMix they require for 3.6 for minimum spec.
3.6 what?
Megs. Gig for the processor speed. So it wasn't quite coping with it. I mean, I could do like a basic live stream if it was just me on the camera. That was fine. But as soon as I put anything else on the screen, any graphics and things like that, it was lagging. So yeah, it struggles a little bit. So I'm hoping to get my processor updated perhaps in the new year, and then save up for at least for the basic version of vMix, because I found vMix actually was quite a lot easier, particularly with the sound things and all the rest of it. So it's much simpler.
Yeah, well, I might mess around with it sometime, but I'm loath to do it right now when I've just got this crappy little webcam. My patrons have already helped fund the video editing software. Lighting is next. I made a vast improvement following some recommendations. I forget who it was. One of my patrons, I think. but it's still all very ad hoc. So I want to get proper lighting. Camera and mic will come later down the line. Once I've got proper audio equipment, that's when I'm going to spend it. I don't want to do it now, and then I'll have to chuck it away again and start again.
Yeah, exactly. No, absolutely right. No,
and it may not be perfect, but my gut feel is it's quite acceptable. I'd like it to be better, but I think it's acceptable. Rob Fowler was just asking something. Talking about bandwidth. I presume you mean here, where I've got the moving stars and the scroller across the bottom and so on. I'm on a hard link to broadband. I forget the speed. It's about 36 meg, so it's not an issue, and I don't pay extra for extra usage, so that's nice.
All right. 274272 just said, "Did I hear empty bottles rattle?" It might have been me actually. I might have rattled one. I've got a couple. I'm not drinking heavy or anything like that. I've just got a couple of beers tonight, and I might have rattled one against another. It might have been me. I'm not sure.
Why not? Why not?
Indeed, it's a Saturday night. Why not? Indeed.
Is it? I totally lose track. I've just moved on to this 6 on 4 off pattern, and this is this is day 2 of my 4 off. So if anything, it would feel like a Sunday.
What would do you mind me? Do you perhaps just say what you do for a living?
I'm always happy for people to ask, but I never say it. I'm quite willing to share, personally, quite a lot, but I'm under some constraints, and there's some things I just cannot share. So I'll be open as I can. I'm married, got 3 kids, eldest 2 adults, and the youngest is just under. Eldest is getting married. I live somewhere in the UK, sort of middle-ish area, and that's about it, because I'd like to be able to say more, and maybe at some point I can, but I'm not really supposed to discuss it.
Not at liberty to say. No, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
That's okay.
And it's quite interesting. I mean, sure, some people just think I don't want anyone to know, and that's fine. But I've heard of quite a few other people who are perhaps, and I don't know why, but perhaps in a similar position, that are at least saying that they're not really allowed to discuss. There we go. It's funny, isn't it?
There you go. All right.
Sorry, guys, I'm back. I had my phone rang, so I had to hang up and get it.
Well, listen, I'm gonna say goodbye. A couple of things I want to do before the shills come on. So I'll go and do that, get that done, and I think I shall bid you good night. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
You're very, very welcome.
Good night, Casual.
Casual. What time again was the shills? Was it midnight?
No. Oh yeah, midnight tonight. Yeah. That's usually 11:30. So yeah, midnight on Fight the Flat Earth, or FTFE as he's known as now, on his channel. So,
cool. Yeah. Good luck. Have a nice time.
Okay, we'll see you over there, Casual.
Well, I won't be on it, but I'll be watching anyway.
Okay. You take care. All the best.
All right. Cheerio now. Bye, bye everybody. Bye, Mum. Bye, 9 o'clock hero and everybody else.
Good night, Squire. Have a good one.
Good night.
Thanks, Mr. Victory, for posting my link to my channel. Appreciate it. Thank you. And you, Colin. Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Corpus Defector says one of them is Creaky Blinder. Is that one of them what? Is Creaky Blinder one of them? I'd often wondered. Did you wonder, Glover, if Creaky Blinder was one of them?
I have no idea. I had to get off. I had to disconnect. My phone rang.
Okay, well,
so I don't know what you're talking about.
No, nor do I, because I'd obviously missed whatever it is that he's supposedly one of them.
Unless he's referring to somebody in chat.
Probably saying one of your kids.
Ha 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 ha! I tell you what, he's going to regret it. He is going to regret it. I see Colon has put a link to the shills 12 midnight on FTFE. When Jutmonkthe Drunken Monkey takes over.
Talking about live streaming or something. I'm not sure.
That should be a good show.
It could be. It could be.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, so 9. What I did, you sort of jumped in every now and then, but not that much. Did you see the early part of tonight with Craig?
I did, yes.
So what did you think?
Well, it was pretty much the same as the show you had with him a few weeks ago. It seemed he's a nice chap. He seemed a bit uncertain about whether he was really a flat earther or not. It's more like, I don't know, I get the impression that a lot of it is listening to too many of these flurfers out there,
I get that impression
thinking for
too.
himself.
Yes.
If you know what I mean.
Do you think he's just
like
been
he's unsure?
I was going to say, do you think it's just that he's been really exposed to that, and basically they've managed to capture his imagination and belief?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he's really sure about it. If you know what I mean. I think with the right persuasion over time, we could bring him back. We could save this one.
Yeah.
I get that feeling. I think he's not sure either way, but he's leaning more towards the flat Earth than the globe Earth at this point.
But I think he's open, and I think he'll listen.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I agree, Nine. And to be honest, that's part of why I'm so keen to talk to him, because not only is he someone I can quite safely have on here, unlike certain others who we know would just run off at the mouth, and maybe over time.
Definitely, like I say, I don't think you'll convert him overnight, but I think there's enough globe evidence out there to make him rethink his views.
Yes. Digital Demonic Davros, good day to you too, mate. And Irish Stew says, I watched a Globebuster stream earlier and had less viewers than you and have been streaming for 7 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Oh dear.
Is that Oakley's channel? Is it one of those channels?
No. Globebusters 24/7. That's, I believe, is the group, certainly a Discord server, that Right the Hand was a mod on.
Oh my lord!
And the latest I heard is Right the Hand got booted out as a mod. Even they don't want it.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I dare say he'll be changing his channel name or becoming somebody else soon.
Oh,
we won't be able to get on anywhere.
I'll just say, I just see Flat Earth Aussie Jesus has come into the side chat. Good evening to you. We did have a couple of messages back and forth.
I don't see him in there.
Yeah, he came in at 11:20, I think. But listen, Flat Earth Aussie Jesus, I would ask if you could at some point watch this stream from the beginning, and you'll see my fireside chat with Craig, and I hope you'll see that I treated him fairly, respectfully, and as a fireside chat, not as a full-on debate. And so I would ask, if you're interested in us doing that sometime, I would very much like to. Okay, so this will be your evidence that it's a proper chat, not a debate. So thank you. So if you're interested, DM me, because I know you. Sorry, send me a direct message, because I know you can. We're linked. Smashing.
Yeah, you should give him a link to your previous encounter with I've forgotten his name. I'm rubbish
Craig.
Names. Craig. Yeah. Now you can look at both streams and make his own mind up then from seeing both
because
so it was handled nice and calm, nice and sensible.
Yeah, and I mean, me and Flat Fuzzy Jesus have actually chatted. I think it's twice, and the second time I said, "Oh, we chatted before," and he didn't remember. But we have chatted twice. Like you were on here 9 with a few other people, so it wasn't that it was a one-on-one or anything like that. But we have chatted with no rancour at all between us, and yeah, I would very much like to do a fireside chat. So please actually watch this so you see the sort of thing we're talking about, and maybe we could do that. Maybe we'll do a debate another time, but this would be a fireside chat. And what else? Chef Alan is in here.
Yeah.
Oh, Flat Earth Aussie Jesus.
Also is here.
Lost ability to Discord. Okay. Well, listen, Flat Earth Aussie Jesus, my email address, if you want to email, maybe we can sort something else out, is mr-sensible@hotmail.com. That's mr-sensible@hotmail.com. You're welcome to send me a message, and perhaps we can catch up at that point through that means. Okay, that'd be great. Corpus Defectus.
I'm not even seeing him on there. That's weird.
11:22. His last post is just up there. If you're watching on the YouTube,
maybe I'm blocked from him. I don't see him.
Well, if you're watching on YouTube, there'll be a delay there before the messages come up.
Yeah, I'm at 11:23 right now. At 3:23 my time.
I've got
Okay.
here, Flat Earth of Jesus. I lost the ability to use Discord. So we're
Yeah, that's right.
I refreshed.
A corpus defector says, isn't that the biggest problem? Most flirts being impolite. Yes, it is. But to be fair, there are also plenty on the globe side who are less than polite the other way. Come on. But I do know what you mean. There are some, Right the Hand springs to mind, but he's not the only one. Because someone like Nathan Oakley, Anthony Riley, I think he's absolutely wrong. It's stupid stuff he says, but I think he's relatively polite, whereas Right the Hand is an idiot and downright rude to boot.
Yeah. So can't elaborate on that. That's just the way he is, isn't it?
He is.
You know, without doing a Jutmonk full rant, you can't really describe him, can you?
Yes. Well, I should point Jutmonk at his way. I think he could have fun with him. Oh dear. Well, anyone else in here? Rob Fowler, Mercury transit. Mercury's not transparent. Apparently not, Rob. Apparently not. That's quite interesting, isn't it? Actually, that's another one where Craig brought it up about the moon possibly being plasma. Quite apart from the issue of is it self-illuminating or whatever. If it was plasma, then the sun would shine through it and you wouldn't get an eclipse.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. I say if the moon's a projection, how come it causes eclipses?
Yeah, well, yeah, because I mean, is it a projection or is it something, but it's only plasma? I don't want to put words in FlatEarthNZ Jesus' mouth, but if I recall when I was on a show with him discussing stuff, he thought it was, I don't know if it's plasma, but the moon was projecting onto something above the surface. I can't remember. That'll be something to discuss if we actually do manage to hook up FlatEarthNZ Jesus. Or Fiaj. I need something short to call you without being rude. That sounds like a Zippo, mate.
Of course it is, yes.
Yeah.
Zippo for life.
Yeah.
Yep, we used to have Zippos
Definitely.
back in the day.
There's nothing quite like a Zippo.
Yeah, I just find this weird. I don't know if it's my computer. I just don't even see if I lost it. That's so responsive.
That's odd. So what's the latest?
I don't even see them in participants either. It's
Well,
weird.
no. What's the latest message you can? What's the latest message you can see on the YouTube? You know, if you're looking at the YouTube image.
I see no name at 326. It says, "Hey, FEAJ, FlatEarthNZ." But I don't see. I keep scrolling back up. I don't see him. So that's weird.
Okay,
That's bizarre.
right. Griffin has a post saying Venus phase always fun.
Yes, I saw that
Yeah,
one.
1, 2, 3 posts above that is FlatEarthNZ Jesus. Between 2 posts you got no name saying.
In the conspiracy had this issue with Backtard one time. He couldn't see him in chat either.
That's odd. That's odd.
Yeah. I
Oh well.
find that weird why I'm not. Yeah, I'm not worried about it. It's just weird that it's happening. You know.
I wonder if it's just the one person. Hey, I mean, is it possible that you'd have, if for instance, let's say FlatEarthNZ Jesus commented on your videos in a horrendous way and you blocked him, would that block you seeing him here?
I don't know. I don't block anybody, so I don't know.
No.
But I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Yeah. I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, I even have it on live chat thinking that was the issue, but no. So I don't know. I'll go to timestamps and see.
Oh, excuse me.
Bizarre.
Yeah.
It is odd. So what are you up to then, Nine? Please forgive me. I can't remember. Do you have a channel or?
I don't have a channel. Well, I've not actually uploaded anything to it yet. I was going to do something for the Halloween, but that sort of fell through.
Oh, I remember that. I'm sure
I
I
ordered
remember.
some props and they weren't right suitable, so I ordered some different props, and then I was ill, and I've been sort of in recovery mode for the past 4 weeks. I think I've lost a couple of stone.
Well, I hope you recover soon.
I'm feeling okay. At the moment, yeah.
Good.
So hopefully I'm on the up and up.
Okay.
Still got a few problems. Well, I have a I'm not going to go into it anyway.
No, of course not. Of course not.
You know,
but you know, fingers crossed. You hope everything, whatever it is, gets sorted out.
Keep waking up every morning. That's all that matters.
Well, that's true. So do you say you've got a channel but with no vids on?
I've got a channel with nothing uploaded at the moment. It's just got there's a lot of stuff what I call interesting, which is stuff that I've watched on YouTube and then just banged into the channel, so that if anybody goes on there, there's something they can click onto and look through if they like. But a lot of it is science stuff that I've watched and other interesting things, and some of the channels that I watch on a regular basis.
So do you
other than debunking channels, I don't really put them into that.
Yes. But I was just wondering, what sort of thing do you sort of think you'll do? Obviously, you might change when it comes to it, but do you have any ideas that you're willing to share?
Not really. Like I say, I had an idea for Halloween, which I'm not going to discuss it because I might still do it and just throw it out there anyway. But I sort of debating if FLIRF is a waste of time, in my opinion. But debunking, I mean, I like say Creaky Blinder, Baldy Cats, that kind of thing, where you're sort of taking the mick, really. You know, I think that the only way to sort of beat these people and get people who are on the cusp, if you like, is just to ridicule these people.
Yes.
You know, because that's all they're worth. That's all they deserve, in my opinion. But a lot of them are up themselves too much, or they're just plain ignorant, not willing to take on board anything. They're stuck in their own little world, and they're not willing to accept anything outside of that world, if you know what I mean. How can an example? Mr. Pratt's a fine example.
Yeah.
You know, he believes what he believes, and there's nothing, you know, short of whipping him up in a spaceship and nipping him around the planet. You're not going to change his mind about anything, are you? You know.
No, but I mean, you get someone like Craig, who was on earlier. We have a polite chat, and at least at face value, he's open. And so I wouldn't be strongly taking a mickey or haranguing or anything like that. But then you get someone like Right the Hand, and of course I had my debate set up with him. There were all the issues, and he was so obnoxious that I just had to do that takedown, and I think he deserved it. But
that was brilliant. That was brilliant. Not only the fact that you had standby videos for it as well. It was just excellent. It was like you predicted what would happen. Basically, he wouldn't show, or he would show, and he'd do this, and you had this two options for either scenario. I think anybody who's seen him or spoke to him knew that it would have gone one or the other.
Yes, exactly.
You know? And having something prepared for that was an absolute brilliant.
Well, thank you.
Job. Brilliant.
But you see, I mean, if let's say we had this chat with Craig, and let's say I knew some stuff about Craig, which I don't, I wouldn't have sort of had that nice chat and then put up a video to trash him. That would be unfair and uncalled for.
No, of course. No. I think, like I say, that's what makes you so good. You have that level of respect for other people as well. You know.
Thank you. I hope so. I try to, but some people take the mickey of. I did. One of my early videos was this girl who believed the moon was a hologram. Now we've heard that before, but
I've heard that before.
You've seen it. Yeah, it's quite obvious that she was ill, that she had some mental health problems. So I did it as gentle as I possibly could, and I actually managed to track. I can't go into details. I tracked down which country and possibly which city she was in, and I contacted the local police with a fear for welfare for her. They acknowledged the receipt of that. What happened, I don't know. But in that video, for instance, I always put a link to the video underneath my video. I didn't on that because I didn't want loads of people going there and ripping her to pieces, because something like that could destroy her.
Yeah, you don't know what it would do to her.
Yeah.
I think that's it. That's what you care. You know what I mean? It's like watching your little tete-a-tete with that guy over the past few days or past week or so. You know, he deserves everything he gets. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
same as Mr. Riley, a little debunk and debunk.
Yes.
They deserve all they get. You know what I mean? But like I say,
Well,
you know the difference.
The strongest word I've used with Riley, he's called me a moron several times in the video. To be honest, my skin's thick enough, and just left that. But then he said, "Well, I'm going to tell you. What is it? I want to show that little guy the meaning of gravity or something." And so the strongest thing I used was I commented on that and said, "Well, my chubby little friend," and that's so. To be honest, that's probably generally about as harsh as I'm going to get. I'll try and destroy them with humour or evidence or both, rather than just trying to.
One thing I noticed about that as well, you got Riley. He's slouched in the chair.
Yes,
like old Nathan. You know,
yes.
like Nathan's. It's like everybody's trying to emulate Nathan. You know what I mean? I watched part of a video a few weeks ago, and you got Oakley, Riley, and Arwin.
Blimey.
And Arwin was spouting some scientific knowledge. He came out with this scientific phrase or term, and then he spouted off some knowledge about it, and Nathan jumped in and starts ripping him to shreds.
Yeah.
And then Riley goes, excuse me, can I just jump in here and just say that he's actually right about this and that and that.
Yeah.
And that, and then Arwin came in again and he carried on doing it. And the interaction between all three of them was so wooden. I was listening to it and thinking, this has got to be scripted. And I was thinking, which one of them did the script though?
Yeah. I've heard, and I don't know, I can't recall who I heard it from, that someone has caught something, whether it was on video or chat or whatever, I don't know, of Oakley and Riley sort of plotting, if you like, of ways of keeping the flat Earth alive, knowing it's a globe.
I think it was Discord, a Discord chat or something, and somebody had screenshots of it.
I'd like to see
Nathan
that.
was telling Riley, don't mention this thing about this lighthouse because it proves the globe, something to that effect. Right? Yeah. And so right then and there it was like, well, we knew Nathan was, now we know Nathan is really a Poe, basically.
That's
terrible. I mean?
That's terrible.
This is the thing about like Riley's latest escapade where everybody's going on about him having a Waz in his chair,
Yes.
Thinking, to me, that sounds like a setup. And you go around all the channels and everybody's talking about it and taking the mick.
He's done a response video today, hasn't he?
I think to myself, that to me is just a way of sort of keeping people interested. I think it was all a setup.
You reckon?
In the beginning, yeah, I do. I think it was all set up.
Yeah, possibly.
I think that's how these people work. They get together, they do something, and say, "Oh, let's just do something off the cuff." That,
I even have. I screen grabbed it of Riley. I was on one of his videos doing comments, and he actually told somebody something like, I don't like. It's not flat or something like that.
Well, Bo Nielsen, Colon, and Mr. Victory have all commented about that. Bo says it's on Fight the Flat Earth and Red's rhetoric. Colon said he'll send it to me. And Mr. Victory says Unirock has got a video on it as well. So pretty well covered there. I'll have to look at that.
Yeah, Unirock covers that a lot, which is good.
Yeah. Feku,
good
evening.
Keeping him in the loop, though, isn't it?
Oh, someone I haven't seen before. Sporky Pants. I love the name. Sporky Pants. Oh, dear.
Somebody said, prove we are on a flat Earth then. Somebody else chimed in, prove it to yourself. How about it? Then Sleeping Warrior says, who said it's flat?
Oh.
I have the screen grab right on, yeah.
But do you think they were just messing and joking?
Possibly, but who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
I don't think Nathan believes it's flat. I think he's just in it for trying to grab he has a daily show, trying to grind as much super chat money as he can.
No, he does it for the
The revenue.
You know, the money. Yeah, the revenue.
Yeah.
But I mean, how
The
they can
real
spend
question is,
so many hours every day? So many hours every day. I suppose he does nothing else.
And then it's the same housekeeping questions every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
the real question is, if we have an ether band, does that mean the dome's leaking?
Exactly. And if it's leaking and it was made by somebody, they sure did shoddy work. You know?
Well, it's only been there 4 million years. What?
Yeah, you know.
Oh dear.
Oh, excuse me.
But yeah.
Beg
I
your
just find it
pardon.
funny how people believe in the Bible that God made it. I'm like, if God made it, then why wouldn't it still be perfect? You know what I mean?
I get me. If we've got a dome, does that mean we live in a greenhouse with ice walls?
Well,
Yeah.
well, the thing is, if there's a dome, then with the sun outside it or the sun inside it, we're going to heat up and heat up and heat up.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I pointed
It'll be
this
more
out
like a
to somebody a
terrarium
few
than
weeks
a-
ago.
Oh,
I
actually,
don't know.
nobody
Yeah.
tell them. The next thing we'll hear that's the cause of global warming. So perhaps better not mention that.
I've actually thought that. I go, well, that would make global, that would help global warming out if the sun were inside the dome. That would make sense now. But no, it's just weird. I don't know. And there's no proof of the dome. No one's. You think we would have been there to the edge of the world by now if that were the case? I mean, come on.
Well, we got we got
militarize
aircraft.
them.
We got aircraft. It would only take one person intrepid with a shed load of fuel just to keep flying in one direction until they reach the
You're eventually
dome.
going to hit the dome because it curves down. You're eventually going to hit it.
Yeah.
Nobody ever has.
Although Riley tried to be quite canny. We were talking about the atmosphere having a gradient and so on. I said about the dome. He said, well, the dome is just a model. It may not be a physical dome. Well, talk about trying to have your cake and eat it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
Oh, Corpus Defector said, wouldn't that be planar warming? Yeah, I suppose it would be
Planar,
rather than global warming.
Yeah.
And you must have heard it instead of the atmosphere as the atmoplane. Have you not heard? Have you heard it called that before?
Yeah, Karen B calls it that, and I'm like, stop it, lady. God.
Oh dear.
She drives me crazy when I listen to her. I'm like, I can't even deal with you. So I don't even bother listening to her.
Oh, Feku says there's water cooling on the dome.
Cooling on the dome. Yeah, I saw that.
Oh dear.
But you're right. If there was water in the dome, if somewhere would be raining and it was leaking, there'd be rain somewhere constantly from somewhere.
If it was
You know what I
leaking,
mean?
but then where do
you'd have one area with.
where do comets and meteors come from?
Exactly.
I don't know
Yeah.
if you remember. I think it's back in the 80s. Was it? They built the Biosphere 2 somewhere down in Cornwall.
Yes, I remember that.
The original
the Eden project.
Structure,
the Eden
the
project.
original structure. It popped. It overheated. The air inside expanded so much it popped, and they had to actually build a separate expansion tank outside of it.
I don't think it lasted very long, did it?
Going through it. I think, like I say, they put the expansion tank in. And I think it was supposed to run for 4 years, wasn't it? I'm not sure if it made the 4 years.
Are you talking about the thing that was like a sort of a test for Mars missions, or are you talking about the Eden project, which was domes for, biodomes for?
I think
it was for space exploration.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where they see if it can make it absolutely self-contained and.
That was it. Yeah.
Wasn't there one they had like desert and they had different. I'm thinking of the movie Biodome. I don't know.
No. In Cornwall, there is a thing, Global Mum, called the Eden Project, and they've got different biomes. So they have a desert biome.
That's
and
what
whatever.
I was thinking of.
But that's not sealed. You can go and visit. It's basically fancy botanical gardens.
This one I'm thinking of was the crew went in and somebody ended up having appendicitis. And
Yeah,
I think this one, like I say, I think the original Biosphere was one where the people went in and they were sealed in for 3 or 4 years. And I don't know how long the experiment was supposed to last. I'm not sure if it made it all the way through, to be honest.
There's always going to be loss, though, isn't there?
There was the initial building popped because of the air expansion, and there's an expansion tank.
Biosphere 2. Yeah,
Biosphere these flat earthers, if they put in a dome on their flat Earth, they need an expansion tank on the outside somewhere.
And if it was that big that it's up so many thousand miles, you need some incredibly strong footings. And, I don't know. I can see that people in the chat are talking about the firmament. My understanding is the original. I think Mitch Goldstein, when he was in here on a previous chat, was saying about it, because he seems to know much about the Jewish ancient texts. That firmament basically just means the heavens, as in, you know, what's above. It doesn't mean exactly the endless sky or whatever, rather than anything physical.
I think when I was a kid going to Sunday school, I asked one of the Sunday school teachers what the firmament was, and they said it was an old word for space.
Yeah, I think that's probably pretty much what I understand it to be, rather than anything physical.
Yeah, I think that's it. People like these people who quote the Bible. The Bible's, it's one of these books that can be interpreted in many different ways.
And it's supposed to be. It's different for everybody.
Exactly. It's not a literal.
No.
You know, at the end of the day,
metaphors and parables and
it's written by men. It's been translated and retranslated. There's bits been taken out, which I don't want. You know, can't have that in there. There's about 30 odd books missing from it. That people have decided.
The Apocrypha, I think that's called, isn't it? The books that didn't get included.
One wonders why they're not in there.
Well, yeah, because the books were collected and gathered together. I mean, I understand that. I don't know that. I've never read the Apocrypha, but I understand one it describes various miracles supposedly performed by Jesus, including, I think it was modelling, making sort of little birds out of clay, and then they flew. I think that's the case.
Yeah.
Something like that. But I've never really read it. I've read the Bible, but not beyond it. I'm just a pre-warning. I'm dropping a link in the chat because it's just gone midnight. I think what I'll do is I will go up to midnight, which is when the shills take over Fight the Flat Earth channel. So I'm going to drop a link in there now. But there we go. I'll drop the link in there again, just as the stream ends. So if people want to go over there and see what Jutmonk's going to do when him and his mob take over Fight's channel.
Can't wait for that.
It sounds fun.
That should be excellent.
And Flat Earth Aussie Jesus in there talking about something which I alluded to earlier on. I couldn't remember the details. I said about the sun shining on something above. Where was it? The local sun electrostimulates the noble gases, which causes them to glow, which also causes friction, which heat is a byproduct. That's why it cools at night. I don't understand all the details, but from what I remember, that's why we would see the sun in different positions around or across the plane. I think that was right, wasn't it, Flat Earth Aussie Jesus? Again, I don't want to put a word into your mouth. It's just from memory. I may be wrong there.
Flat Earth, does it think of a light bulb? Does it get hot or not? It depends what kind of bulb it is.
But even LEDs get warm, don't they? They have to.
They get warm, but not hot.
They do.
No.
Yeah.
Peter G saying about Biosphere 2 was in Arizona. Yes. They were isolated for 2 years. But the oxygen reacted with the cement, which hadn't cured. No.
From what I read, the oxygen was lower than they expected. They had to supplement it or something. And now it's a tourist attraction. But it had all different biodomes in it.
Now, assuming it had worked, would you have gone in there for, let's say, 6 months? I would think it'd get pretty boring.
Not if you're busy all the time with, if there's crops to plant or, you know what I mean?
Yes.
They had about, 5 or 6 people go in, I believe? They had like a handful of people go in.
I don't know the details. I know that it's an incredible idea.
I do remember one guy got appendicitis. I don't know if they had to take him out or they had to. Yeah, it was weird. Some guy got sick. I can't find a lot on it, but there is a website for it.
I would think if we ever do a Mars shot, or when we do a Mars shot, and I hope we do a Mars shot, I would bet you £1 to a penny that everyone that goes would have their appendices removed beforehand.
That would make sense.
It would.
Yeah. And I was hazard to say their gallbladders as well.
Oh, I know nothing of that.
Because if you have a gallbladder attack, like I had a gallbladder, I have no gallbladder anymore. But if you have an attack of your gallbladder, you have to get taken out or it'll kill you.
Yes.
Same with your appendix. So you'd have to get rid of all your unnecessary organs that could cause you problems. You know what I mean?
I've just had a super chat. I guess it was to do with something in the conversation which I didn't pick up on, from 3am Paranormale Horror, who super chatted €2. So just saying a 15-degree-per-hour drift. Thanks, Bob Nadell. Good man.
Thanks, Bob Nadell.
Well, I'm off to do a Riley. Back in a tick.
Okay. Off for a Riley. That's good.
It's so annoying because I can see people responding to Flat Earth Honest Jesus, but I can't see. It's like a one-way conversation.
Oh.
So I can't see what he's. You know what I mean? It's
like,
it's frustrating.
What would be interesting would be if you look at the playback, see if his chats appear for you, because they should be being saved.
Yeah.
That's really odd, isn't it?
That is very odd. Very odd. Very odd. Yeah.
Yeah, they're talking about the sun, and Flat Earth Aussie Jesus saying about the sun.
Yeah, I get the gist of the light bulbs.
Yeah, but the sun.
Something about. I get it. He said it's not friction in a light bulb. So I guess Flat Earth Aussie Jesus is trying to keep the light bulb thing going. I don't know. Or the gas.
No, that's interesting. One thing Flat Earth Aussie Jesus does say is light is instant, not an 8-minute delay from the sun.
Oh,
well,
okay.
That's in which case, one thing that wouldn't work would be the laser gyroscopes, ring laser gyroscopes, because they rely on the wavelengths being slightly out of sync to work out the rotation. That's interesting. But they've measured the speed of light. If it has any speed at all, it's not instant. Interesting.
True. But he's got to think about one thing. The sun's out in space. That's a totally different medium than our atmosphere. So
yes.
It probably takes longer for the photons to reach us because there's no. I don't know. I'm not so learned on that, but it makes sense to me.
That almost sounds as though you'd be sort of positing ether, which was the original thought. That's what carries light.
Yeah.
But basically,
but I know it is.
Flat Earth is sort of
8 minutes to get here, so
roughly 8 minutes from the sun. Yes, but saying that starlight and sunlight are instantaneous. We'd have to.
When it reaches our atmosphere, maybe it is instantaneous. But I think from the time it goes from the sun itself to our edge of our atmosphere, that's what takes the time.
Yeah, but he's also saying that the light from stars is instantaneous as well. I've got a feeling though that the further.
Why are all the stars in the atmosphere not bright?
Well, no, it's just when for instance, we sort of say, well, this star is 4.2 light years away, i.e., the light from that star has taken 4.2 years to get here. So if at this instant in time the star blew up, we wouldn't see it blow up for 4.2 years.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So it's literally travel time. But Flat Earth Aussie Jesus is basically saying it's instantaneous, because certainly light is bloody quick, but the distances we're talking about.
If it's instantaneous, then even the dim stars we see should be bright. Does that make sense?
Oh, are you talking about stars that have dimmed? So you're not talking about stars that are dim because they're dimmer stars. You're talking about stars that are dim because of the distance.
Right.
Yeah.
If they're instantaneous, shouldn't we see brighter light then?
Well, I guess then you could be talking.
That's right.
You could be talking about that theory where if there's stars in absolutely every direction, then why isn't the sky at night totally lit?
Right. because if it was instantaneous, we would see the light immediately. It wouldn't be dim.
But is that to do? I don't think that's to do with the time it's taken to get here. It doesn't fade because of time. I think it's faded because they're so far away that very few of the photons get here. Because even if it starts off parallel, I mean, it must spread out. And I mean, I think that's what dimming is, isn't it?
That could be, yeah. It spreads out and gets wider and wider, and that's why.
And dimmer and dimmer, yeah. Because otherwise, you know, if you're 100 million miles from the sun, our distance from the sun, it's that bright. If you doubled it, that brightness has to cover a sphere, the surface area of which is massively
But that's
greater.
the same when the light gets to our edge of our atmosphere, because of Raleigh's scattering, it spreads out everywhere.
Well, there's that as well, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's why it seems instantaneous. I'm guessing, I'm thinking that's what he's going after. But I don't know. I can't see him, so I don't know.
Corpus Defectus has said we measure distance by finding standard candles like a Type 1a supernova. Absolutely right. And all the business of magnitudes of stars is comparing one with another. Because we can measure the very nearest stars by parallax. You look at the background behind a star on at one night. 6 months later, when we're round the other side of the sun, so that's 186 million miles away, a diameter. You look again, and you'll see that star appears slightly offset against the background, the parallax.
Yeah.
And that enables you to calculate a distance, but that only works out to a certain distance because then the parallax becomes too small to measure. Bo Nielsen saying photons still expand from basically a point, which is the sun, in every direction. Absolutely.
Yeah,
so, but if you start off with the sun, let's say the sun was the size of a football. By the time you get out to a football field, that sort of diameter, that same amount of light has had to disperse. So at some point, it's going to be so. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not explaining this very well, but I know what I mean in my head. Does anyone else know what I mean in my head?
Not sure. I can tell you now, what's his name? Arvin Ash did a very interesting video on visualizing infinity, about whether the universe is infinite or not. And if anybody, like I say, it's well worth a look if anybody wants to flip over to, what was it? Arvin Ash, scientist YouTuber. I can see Mr. Sensible talking, but I can't hear a word.
Yeah.
No, I was talking. Yeah, you're looking at the delay. Sorry, I was just reading that something that Flat Earth Aussie Jesus was saying. Flat Earth Aussie Jesus is saying he's talking about if we actually it must be in response to what I was saying about 6 months later on the other side of the Earth's orbit. He says we should be looking 180 degrees the opposite side of the sun, never seeing the same night sky. Well, if you were at the midnight position on the midsummer's day or midsummer's night, the midnight position, i.e. 180 degrees around the Earth from the sun, looking straight up, and then 6 months later, at the midnight position, look straight up. Absolutely right. You're looking 180 degrees the opposite direction. But if you look to your left or your right, you'll see what was above the plane of the ecliptic. You'll see the same thing. I could probably show it better with the diagram.
That's why we get the constellations. We're astrology, is it? Yeah, astrology,
yes.
Not astronomy. Yeah, that's where that comes from, because we move around and we see different constellations.
Yes, they're all still there. They're all still there. It's the position of the sun against the background, looking across the orbit, isn't it? If you see what I mean. So the sun is in the position of, let's say, Gemini, and then a few weeks later, it is, as we have rotated round, it appears as though the sun has moved into another constellation. The constellations mean absolutely nothing, of course. They just happen to be a random alignment of stars.
Oh.
Go on, then. What star sign are you then?
Oh, typical Taurus.
You're a Taurus. What about you, Globe Mom?
Oh, Cancer.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm the crab.
I'm Pyrex. I was a test tube baby.
Well, the first one was stolen, so there you go.
I'm Gemini.
Yeah. Oh, okay, my daughter's Gemini. We got 2 minutes to the shills, by the way.
Oh gosh, time is going. Right, yeah. Actually, I'm glad you pointed that out.
Well,
So, a quick word
1 minute, 2 minute now, but yeah.
Yeah. So, Globe Mom, do you want to go first? Do you want to say final words?
Final words. I'm glad I can be on here again. I do enjoy it.
Good.
And I have about, I don't know how many more, about 16 or so, 14 or so more subs to 300. So get on it.
Yes, go on. Everyone have a check on Globe Mom's channel.
I'm selling t-shirts on Teespring as well, or a t-shirt. I'm doing the classic tees right now. See how
Already
they go.
subbed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love the short
see how
shorts.
they go. So.
Well, listen,
it's working on some more videos. So.
Good for you. Good for you. So people, have a look at Globe Mum's channel and consider subscribing. Good night, Globe Mum. 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock. Anything? Any final words?
No, it's been great being here. I've lost track with the chat. Obviously, like I say, there's a lot of people on there who say hello and great bunch of people.
Yeah.
Appreciate everything they say and do. And I know that when I need it, they'll be there. When I need the help, they're going to be there. So, thank you very much. And
you're very welcome.
It's good night from me, and it's good night from him.
Okay. Oh, and apparently I could just hear the Shills music starting. It's going to start in 2 minutes, everyone. So I'm going to drop. I'm going to drop the link in chat again. Yeah, thank you very much, Nine. And I do recognise your voice and remember from when we chatted before.
Yeah, I was in a bit of a state then.
Yes.
Yes.
But it wasn't.
Back, is it?
It is. But it wasn't just you. Was it you that fell asleep?
I think I fell asleep before Colon did, or around about the same time.
No, I think it might
not Colon.
SKYFLYBRI, I think.
I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah. Anyway,
I think you muted me before.
Yeah, I had to. I think it was a snoring. Anyway, listen, it's good to have you on again. I'll probably be doing a live stream, not sure exactly, but probably Tuesday or Wednesday evening. Anyway, listen.
Keep an ear out.
Good stuff. All right, you guys take care. I'm going to.
You too.
Okay, we'll catch you soon, Globe Mum. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.
See you on the Shills.
Excellent. Right. Well, thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate you in here, and really appreciate everyone who's been on this stream tonight. It's been great. Really enjoyed it as always. So I'm going to say good night. Look forward to seeing you all again. Please catch my video on Tuesday evening. It's only a short one. It's fun. Big fun. Good night all. Stay sensible.